presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southwest. It's a hazy, lazy late summer afternoon or early summer afternoon here in North Texas. But the excitement's about ready to be ramped up as the Rangers go for their 8th in a row overall and their 2nd straight over the Colorado Rockies. Hi, everyone, and welcome along to Rangers Baseball. Along with Tom Grieve, I'm Steve Busby in for Dave Barnett. And boy, it has been quite a trip for the Rangers the last 7 ball games, winning all 7, looking for number 8 today. And a big part of that, Tom, has been Adrian Beltre, who has just been on fire.
Yeah, you know, ever since Adrian Beltre came here, and actually before that, because we had a chance to see him play, he's one of the most steady players in the big leagues, both defensively and offensively, and this year's no exception. For a run producer in the middle of the lineup, he doesn't have a lot of downtime. He's a tremendous threat behind Josh Hamilton batting fourth. He uses the whole field. He's in the top 5 in hitting, top 10 in RBIs. Last 8 games, he's been exceptionally hot. When he gets on one of these streaks, it doesn't matter whether the pitch is high, low, inside, or outside. He's going to put the good part of the bat on it.
And he's been doing it. Those numbers will tell you he's been doing it more often than not of late, and a great guy in the middle of that order. Rangers and the Rockies coming up, game number 2 of this 3-game series. Kobe Lewis on the hill. We'll be right back with the starting lineups and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Want to break up with a vehicle that's breaking down? Then head to your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best in Texas. By Budweiser. Great times are awaiting. Grab some buds. and by the Progressive Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. Now, before we give you the lineups and get the proceedings underway, let's head down to Emily Jones. Emily?
Well, guys, you were talking about Adrian Beltre in the last segment, and everyone knows what he does on the field. And there is no doubt that Michael Young is the leader of this team in the clubhouse. But Adrian Beltre is quite the regulator as well, and he is a quiet and soft-spoken guy. He has his strange quirks, like not wanting to be rubbed on the head, but you see the way he interacts with his team in the dugout, and he does more of that in the clubhouse. He's very quiet, very soft-spoken, but he definitely gets his point across, and it's been interesting to see that come out in him over the last couple of years. I think when Vladimir Guerrero left this team, a lot of people wondered who would be that leader in the clubhouse to step up, especially with the Latin guys. And it seems like Adrian Beltre has really fit into that role and really has embraced it. And it's been fun to watch. He's a great guy. And what you see out there on the field is translated a lot of times in that clubhouse.
Thanks, Emily. Great points, because Adrian Beltre is certainly one of the prominent leaders in that Ranger clubhouse, and really one of the reasons since coming over from last year that the Rangers have been a little edgy as far as competition goes. They have that competitive edge, and Beltre certainly brings that along with his great sense of humor. Adrian, and a mentor in a lot of ways to Elvis Andrus and Nelly Cruz. It's been interesting to watch Adrian Beltre kind of take over part of this ball club. And, great leadership qualities, and certainly a great performer, as we all know. Now, the Colorado Rockies have this lineup. Jim Tracy putting in fourth today. Jonathan Herrera leads off today. He's the shortstop, batting second, playing third base. Jordan Pacheco. Carlos Gonzalez in left field bats third. The DH and cleanup man, Jason Giambi. Michael Kadire moves into first base today. He'll bat fifth. Tyler Colvin in right field, bat sixth. Chris Nelson is the second baseman, hitting eighth. The catcher, Will Nieves. And Dexter Fowler moving from top to bottom. The center fielder batting ninth.
Look at the scouting report on Kobe Lewis. It just gets better and better every time we show it. He's got his ERA down to 3. That's 8th best in the league. Had a little bit of a blip in May, but boy, was he terrific in April, and has he been terrific in June, a 1.76 ERA. Past 11 interleague starts have gone very well. 8-2 with a 1.94 ERA. Kobe's 6th in the league with 96 innings, 8th in the league with a 231 opponent's batting average, and he'll be in the top 10 probably in the 3rd or 4th inning in strikeouts. Just a tad out of the top 10 in that right now.
And Colby delivers strike one to Jonathan Herrera. Herrera, the switch hitter, stepping in at 239, a couple of home runs, 4 driven in, and Lewis hits the outside corner. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Shades of last night, with Roy Oswalt just pounding the strike zone through his 6 2/3 innings. Lewis with the 0-2 pitch, and the slow curveball is a bit low and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Colby Lewis, the 32-year-old, out of Bakersfield, California. And he has been a rock for this starting rotation. Looping line drive to right center field. That's going to settle in for a base hit. And Jonathan Herrera, a leadoff single, is aboard for Jordan Pacheco. Defensively, Hamilton in left, Gentry in center, and Cruz in right. On the infield, Napoli, Kinsler, Andrews, and Adrian Beltre back in the lineup. At third base, Lewis and Yorby Toriyama. Craig Gentry, who really rolled his ankle last night trying to beat out a bunt for his single. Good to see him back out there. And that was a little bit scary last night. Rangers having some injury problems, as you well know, and good to see Craig able to get back into action here this afternoon.
It's one thing to be able to come back into the game last night when he's sweating and the adrenaline's flowing, kind of in the heat of battle, but then to wake up in the morning, come out to the ballpark, get treatment, and be able to play today after it had a chance to stiffen up, that is a good sign.
0-1 the count to Pacheco. Showed bunt on the first pitch, takes the next pitch outside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike, and we'll go back to last night and show you that play.
Right as he gets to the bag and jams his foot into the bag, it twists awkwardly and then twists as he came down on it past the bag. It certainly looked like it was going to be a lot worse. Thank goodness he's okay. playing some great baseball for the Rangers right now. Hate to lose him.
Swing and a miss on the breaking ball, and Lewis now the advantage in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's Kobe's slider, which they'll see a lot of today.
That's one thing that's been a constant, Tom, that we've noticed with Colby Lewis his last 5 times out or so. He has had that slider right from the get-go, and he's been able to get strikeouts and weak ground balls. That pitch is fouled back.
Yeah, when the hitter's behind Kobe, 1-2, 0-2, usually it's happened with at least 1 fastball, maybe 2. And they're just so susceptible. Left-hand hitters to the slider down and in. Right-hand hitters the same slider, which would be down and away to them. He gets a lot of swings and misses at that pitch. Starts off in the strike zone, looks like a pretty good pitch, and then right at the end, it's out of the strike zone.
There goes the runner to the throw to second after a double clutch, and sliding in safely is Herrera with the stolen base. And Pacheco on the check swing is gone on strikes. I don't know whether Jorvid had a problem getting a grip on the ball or whether Pacheco got in his way, but he did double clutch, and that allowed Herrera to steal second.
Yeah, you see him trying to grip the ball. It just came out of his glove and wasn't secure in his fingers. And the little adjustment that he had to make made it pretty easy for Herrera to sneak into second base with that stolen base.
And the umpire's Jim Wolf, one of the best in the business, calling balls and strikes. Wally Bell, the crew chief at first. Ron Culpa at second. DJ Rayburn fills out the quartet. He's over at third, and the first pitch to Carlos Gonzalez is a bit high for ball 1. Gonzalez steps in, the team leader with a .332 average, 17 home runs, and 51 driven in this year. And with first base open, I would imagine you would see Colby Lewis be a little bit careful with Gonzalez. Changeup, and that's fouled down at home plate. 1 ball, 1 strike.
All through Kobe's statistics, you see league, not necessarily league leading, but among league leader numbers. The one place he does lead, not only the league, but Major League Baseball, is strikeout to walk ratio. It's 7-1, kind of an unheard of ratio. 12 walks, 84 strikeouts, and he walks just about 1 batter per 9 innings. That's also the best in Major League Baseball.
Went up the ladder with that fastball, and Gonzalez couldn't catch up with it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And when you watch Gonzalez swing at that pitch, it looks like it's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. It's actually 87 miles an hour. And he just threw the high fastball right by him. Now, Buzz, we were talking before the game how it appears difficult for the hitter to pick that fastball up. Kobe throws it it leaves his hand right behind his head. And it really looks like it is deceptive in the way it gets in on a hitter without that mid-90s velocity.
Yeah, Colby with a little bit of a short arm motion. That means the hand is closer to the head than much other guys as he comes forward. 2-2 pitch. Check swing, and that is right down in front of home plate, just to the side of home plate. It's a foul ball as Gonzalez got out of the batter's box in a hurry. And we'll come back and try it again at 2-2.
That wasn't foul by much. You follow the foul line to the plate. That's obviously the line. But it kind of gets stuck right there and stops just before it gets to the foul line. Watch that ball stop. Had a little bit of spin on it and just stops dead, barely foul.
I'd like to be able to get my pitching wedge to do that.
No kidding.
You got no chance. Colby a check of second. Herrera the lead, and the pitch to Gonzalez is strike, and the throw to third is not in time. Gonzalez down on strikes, but Herrera swipes third. Well, he's there now with 2 outs, and Jason Giambi coming up. Back-to-back strikeouts on check swings. And Ron Washington is going to go out and have a talk with DJ Rayburn, the third base umpire, as to whether that tag wasn't there in time to get the sliding Herrera.
No, Herrera stole second, and then on the strikeout, steals third. It looked like the throw was there in time. Let's see whether the tag was. Yeah, he tagged him on the shoulder. Looked like possibly that right hand got in there. We'll be able to tell from this angle. I don't know.
Pretty close.
I don't know.
Well, great job, guys, with the camera work. That's some fantastic replay stuff right there.
Someone's going to argue whether he's called safe or out on that one. It's pretty much as simple as that. That call went their way, but if it went our way, they would have argued.
In any event, he's 90 feet away, is Herrera, with 2 outs now. And Jason Giambi, the designated hitter, will come up. And Giambi's got quite a history against Colby Lewis. 5 for 7 against the Ranger right-hander. Giambi, though, struggling a bit of late. That average at 237, but he has been down below 200 for the last couple of weeks. And he takes a slow breaking ball for strike 1.
Colby loves to drop that curveball in on the first pitch. Very seldom is a hitter prepared to swing at that pitch on the first pitch he sees, especially the first time up. It's almost a guaranteed take right there. And if you can throw it for a strike, you're ahead in the count 0-1.
That's fouled out of play.
0-2. Now you get the 88-mile-an-hour fastball. You're a little bit late on that. And all of a sudden it's 0-2. Haven't even seen the slider yet. Colorado been very good with men in scoring position. Not last night, though. They had 12 hits last night. Had a lot of opportunities, but couldn't cash in.
Now 1 for 10 last night with the Rockies with runners in scoring position. Excuse me, 1 for 8. Next pitch, up and in. That fastball out of the strike zone. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Giambi.
And Giambi doesn't chase many bad pitches. He's a guy that's always walked a lot. And this season he's only hitting .237, but his on-base percentage is .390.
That's off the plate outside. The count is even to Giambi now.
Occasionally it seems like you can get Giambi to swing at maybe a chest-high fastball. Colby may get him to chase that slider down and in, but he lays off that pitch pretty well.
Lewis with a 2-2 pitch. Popped up foul. That will be over the third base dugout, occupied by the Rockies, and back about 15 rows. And it's still 2-2. Yeah, the only problem with when you don't have the 95-mile-an-hour plus fastball, trying to throw a chest-high fastball sometimes is a little bit dicey to a guy like Giambi, because if you miss by about 4 or 5 inches in altitude, he can hit it a long way. Again, the 2-2, that's that slider down and in, and the count has gone full.
Well, Colby will give up his share of home runs. In fact, sometimes a little more than his share of home runs. The fortunate thing is he doesn't walk anybody, so many times there's not anyone on base when he gives up a home run. But you're right, Buzz, most of those home runs come on fastballs that catch a little too much of the plate.
3-2, crowd trying to get behind Colby Lewis. Payoff pitch on the way. It popped up, foul territory. Right at the railing is Napoli, and it's going to be back about 5 rows, just out of Nap's reach. And we'll come back and try it again. Colby taking a little bit off that pitch to Giambi and almost got him to keep it in play. Colby, a longer first inning than he's been accustomed to having of late. 22 pitches now for the Ranger right-hander. And this will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat coming to Jason Giambi. Right-handed hitter in the on-deck circle, and that's Michael Kadire. Colby Lewis trying to work around a leadoff single and a couple of stolen bases. Again, the payoff pitch. Line drive to right field. That is going to be caught by Nelly Cruz and then dropped it. Came out of his glove as he hit the ground. Giambi is going to be aboard with a single. Coming down from third is Jonathan Herrera. And the Rockies take a 1-0 lead. But what a spectacular effort by Nelly Cruz in right field.
Yeah, I thought Nelly was going to catch that ball. He got to it all right. Made the dive. The ball was about a foot off the ground. It just went off the thumb of his glove. Great try and almost made it.
So Giambi drives in his 8th run of the year. Colorado on top, and now Michael Kadire will step in. First pitch to him, that's fouled away to the right. So Giambi continuing to be a thorn in the side of Colby Lewis. Giambi now is 6 out of 8 with 3 RBI against Colby in his career. Michael Kadire also has had good success against Lewis. He's hit a .308 clip against Colby. And that's low and outside. The count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Kadire, of course, all those years with the Twins. Now a mainstay for the Rockies in the middle of their order. Chop foul, the off-speed curveball by Colby Lewis. A ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Kadire has always been one of those guys that on a really good team would be a 6th, maybe a 7th place hitter, guy that could hit 270, hit 20 home runs and knock in 80 or 90 runs. The thing that makes him valuable as well, he's a solid offensive player. He can play a number of positions. He can play third, he can play first, and he can play the outfield. So he's a valuable guy to have because of his versatility as well.
Lewis with a 1-2 pitch. Got him on the fist, and Kadire able to fight it off foul beyond the screen back into the seats. Yeah, and I guess the biggest compliment you can give a player, which Kadire gets from a lot of folks, he's good in the clubhouse. Good guy to have on the ball club. Hard competitor. Knows how to play the game. Again, the 1-2 pitch. And that's poked foul to the right. But Colby being extended in this inning. That was his 28th pitch. He has not backed off throwing strikes, though. 20 of the 28 have been in the zone. Giambi not being held on at first by Napoli, and the pitch to Kadire, another foul ball. We'll try pitch number 30 and see if he can get rid of Kadire. Well, the Rockies leading 1-0, something they did not do in any time in last night's ball game as the Rangers beat them 4-1. Got him swinging. Foul tipped into Torrealba's glove. The Rockies, though, jump on top in the first. A run on 2 hits. They strand 1. Half an inning in the books. Colorado 1. Texas coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. Of hits and a run off Colby Lewis. We'll go to the bottom of the first inning. Rangers coming to bat, and here's Ron Washington's lineup for this afternoon. Ian Kinsler leads off. Elvis Andrews plays short, bats second. Josh Hamilton in left field. Adrian Beltre back on defense today, playing third, batting fourth. Michael Young will be the DH. Kelly Cruz in right field, bats sixth. Mike Napoli is the first baseman. Torrealba behind the plate, and Greg Gentry, the center fielder, batting ninth. And they will oppose the 27-year-old left-hander Josh Outman.
Yeah, the numbers won't look very good. He's 0-3 with an ERA of 8.41. He holds left-hand hitters down very well. It's 226 right now this year. In his career, it's 187. Right-hand hitters, though, have enjoyed some pretty good success against him. He has started 3 times in our ballpark. He's 0-1 with a 5.19 ERA. Done a lot of his pitching for the Oakland A's.
So Outman ready to work. Ian Kinsler steps in, hitting at 273 for the year. First pitch, fastball, and you might as well get used to that as long as Outman's out there. Throws a lot of fastballs, and he can touch the mid-90s at times. Back to the plate, a little tapper down the third baseline. Nieves fields, and Kinsler shot down as he begins things for the Rangers today. 2-3 on the putout, and it'll bring up Elvis Andrus.
Yeah, you need to roll that a little farther down the line to have a chance to beat it out. That's right in the catcher's easy field territory. Outman in his last 3 starts has only pitched 12 1/3 innings. He's given up 18 hits and 14 runs in his last 3 starts. Arizona, Oakland, and Philadelphia. So not a lot of recent success for him.
Elvis a .293 hitter as Outman fires the first pitch, fastball, and it's just off the outside corner. Elvis a home run, 28 driven in. And on base percentage still near the .370 mark. And a fastball is high. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Anderson in his last 6 ball games a .333 hitter. Josh Outman, something you don't see unless you have throwback jerseys anymore, going with the stirrup socks pulled way up high. Left-hander's 2-0 pitch. A bunt is popped up and not able to make the play. Nieves with the dive for it. It goes off the end of his glove, comes back into foul territory, but he touched it in fair territory. It's going to be a bunt base hit for Elvis Andrus.
I guess you have a pretty good element of surprise when you're ahead in the count 2-0. The defensive team is not looking for a bunt when the count is 2-0, especially for a guy that's been driving the ball into the gaps as well as Elvis has this year. So he got a pretty good pitch to bunt, gets a little bit of a break right there when the pop-up just is out of the reach of the catcher. Well, the last thing I'd want to do is pop up a drag bunt when I'm ahead in the count 2-0 against a fastball pitcher when I know he's throwing a fastball.
Josh Hamilton is swinging a miss, and it's 0-1. Yeah, that's what you do that, you're going to have to second guess yourself from now until the end of the season.
Yeah, I'd be a little upset.
Hamilton just 2 out of 10 against Outman with 5 strikeouts. Outman has that slider, which Hamilton saw on the first pitch, that really gives left-handers fits. And there goes Josh's bat. You know, apparently it doesn't matter what finish Josh has on the bat, whether it's a white finish or a dark finish, or he can let them all go.
I have to guess in the course of his season, he launches 12 dozen bats. It's almost it's almost one a game.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've seen him do 2 or 3 in
it might be more. It might be more than that. Yeah, I don't think Josh would ever look into the bat rack and see maybe a dozen bats. He has to have 4 or 5 dozen in there. Either that or get a way to ship them overnight.
Yeah, he has gone on strikes as Outman makes short work of Josh Hamilton. That slider gets him. He saw 3 of them, and Hamilton gone. There are 2 outs, and Adrian Beltre coming up. Well, Outman with his first strikeout. We'll see now if Elvis tries to set sail from first base to get in scoring position for Adrian.
I mentioned that Outman has been very good in his career against left-handed hitters. Left-hand hitters in his career hit below 200. It's a little higher than that this year, but still very good. And you can see the tough time that Josh had in that at bat. Fortunately, though, for the Rangers, Josh is the only left-hand hitter in the lineup. Everyone else is a right-hand hitter, and he hasn't been as good, nearly as good against right-hand hitters.
And fastball shot foul into the club level of seats here at Rangers Ballpark, and 0-1 the count to Beltre. You saw the numbers on Adrian. Outstanding year going for Beltre here in the 72nd game of the year. Beltre already with 47 RBI. Multiple hits in 7 of the last 10 contests. He has been the force consistently in the middle of that order. Outman back to him. The fastball is off the plate inside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Beltre, a little bit of a history against Outman. 2 out of 8 in his career, but one of those 2 hits, a home run. He's driven in a couple. As Andrus at first, 2 outs here in the bottom of the first.
Rangers won last night 4-1. They didn't do a lot of hitting. They had 3 big hits. Beltre had a 2-run homer early. Napoli had a home run, and Cruz had a double to drive in a run. But they were out hit by Colorado. Didn't have a lot of base runners. And Friedrich Christian Friedrich, the pitcher that pitched last night, is a little bit like Outman. Overhand fastball, low to mid 90s. Friedrich might have a little bit better curveball, but they're facing essentially a similar guy today, trying to put up a little bit better numbers today than they did yesterday. Yesterday was excellent pitching. Roy Oswalt in the bullpen. And the Rangers have won a lot of games this year with that same formula.
Changeup, that's hit right off the end of the bat. And the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Outman, a couple of years removed from Tommy John surgery, missed the 2 seasons ago, being out the entire year after having the ligament replacement surgery. Come back, maybe not quite to where he was, but pretty close as far as velocity goes. When he came up with Oakland, he was one of the highly touted young pitchers to come through the Oakland organization. There goes Andrus. The pitch is lined to left field, a base hit. Elvis will not stop at second. He's on his way to third. And Gonzalez fires it into second to keep runners at the corners. There are now 2 outs and Michael Young coming up.
Beltre really hit that ball hard. He's in such a good groove now. Threw him a changeup that he was way out in front of him, throws a fastball up and in, and there are not many hitters after being out in front of a changeup who are going to be able to hit that fastball at 94 miles an hour in that location. But Beltre's a unique hitter. I'd hate to be a pitcher pitching to Beltre. You don't know what to throw him or when to throw it, where to throw it. And when he's in a groove like this, it doesn't really matter. If you throw it near the plate, he's going to hit it hard. It's pretty much as simple as that.
Exactly. Exactly. So Michael Young now a shot to at least draw the Rangers even if they can. Texas trailing 1-0. Michael Young, a .268 hitter, and takes a fastball on the outside corner from Josh Outman. Michael, as we all know, been struggling last 9 ball games, just 4 for 31, but most importantly to Michael anyway, having trouble with runners in scoring position. Last month and a half of play hitting under 150.
I think the one thing, Buzz, that you haven't seen during that stretch from Michael is the ability that he has to line base hits to right field. He's hit a lot of balls off the end of the bat, a lot of ground balls to shortstop instead of his signature line drive to the right of second base.
1-1 pitch up and away, and the count moves to 2-1. Yeah, that's a real good point, Tom. I agree with you. It's, you know, Michael, you can almost always count on at least one time during a ball game or against one pitcher, he would hit a ball hard to right field. Whether it fell in or not was really immaterial, but he would crush a ball to right field, a line drive to right. We just haven't seen him do that consistently.
No, I think he's just, you know, maybe a little over anxious, just not waiting on the ball like he normally does.
Up in the count here, 2 balls and a strike. There's the changeup, and that floats over the inside corner. Michael back out, having a little talk with himself. Got Elvis Andrus at third, Adrian Beltre at first. And Josh Outman ready to work on the 2-2. Loop down the right field line. That's slicing, and it will go back into the first row out of play.
Nice play down the line. Lady with a glove. Might have wrenched her shoulder, but she comes up with a beautiful catch. Might have saved someone behind her by making that play. All right.
Very nice. They're acting like that nobody's expected her to catch it.
She said, now you see why I brought my glove.
That's right. That's right. Again, the 2-2. Young to right center field. Moving over into the gap is Colvin. And he makes the catch. So Young hit it that way, just not quite far enough. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. After 1, Colorado 1, Texas nothing. On Fox Top of the second. Let's check in with Jim Knox.
All right, thank you, Buzz. Ranger fans looking for another win? You bet. It'll be 8 in a row here for a win today. Community Court this afternoon. We're talking about Michael and Christina Young. That's right. The Rangers' #1 player. Thank you very much, Michael Young. Also, yesterday, his wife and him very busy as they hosted a group from Wipeout Kids Cancer. You know, Michael and Christina have been part of that for a number of years. They also donate scholarship to a lot of the kids from Wipeout Kids Cancers, along with laptops and printers. To find out more information on Wipeout Kids Cancers, check out the information on your screen. Buzz?
All right, Jim, thank you. Tyler Colvin leading things off in the top of the second inning, and he takes outside from Colby Lewis. Colvin getting a start in right field today, a .291 hitter, and see the power numbers there, 7 and 21 driven in. Colby back to him, and Colvin skies one to straight away center field. Moving to his left a couple of steps, Craig Gentry. Wind playing a few tricks with it out there, and Craig able to stay with it for out number 1. The breeze starting to blow in from right field now, a typical south wind here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. It had been just dead calm at the start, but now the flag's starting to ruffle just a bit. A one away now. The second baseman today, Chris Nelson, comes to the plate. Nelson, a 4-game hitting streak coming into play this afternoon, takes a strike from Colby. Nelson got the start over at third base last night, and today over at second. That's out of play to the right, and the count moves to no balls, 2 strikes. Colby to the wind, and the pitch is lined off the glove of Beltre, and he never saw it after he put his glove up. Going for second is Nelson. He's in there standing with a double that Adrian Beltre looked like his reaction anyway, that he lost the ball. Had the glove up in the right spot, but the way he reacted after it went off his glove is like he lost track of it.
Now, that ball was basically too hot to handle with the white shirts in the stands. Put his glove up and saw it off the bat. Otherwise, he wouldn't have got his glove right there. But right in there is where he lost it. Went off the thumb of his glove. Luckily for Adrian, that wasn't about 2 feet lower.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a 1-out double for Chris Nelson. He's in scoring position now, and the veteran catcher, Will Nieves. As Colby Lewis bluffs the throw to second. The 1-on, 1-out. And the pitch to Nieves, swung on and fouled away to the right. Nieves at .333. No home runs and 2 driven in. Willeen Rosario, if you remember, started last night, the rookie catcher. He has been doing most of the catching since he was called up. Nieves, a veteran backup influence. Tapper up the middle, going to third is Nelson. And Elvis fires on to first to get the second out. Well, just like last inning now, a runner at third, 2 outs, and Dexter Fowler will come up. Well, they have changed the scoring on that ball off of Adrian Beltre's glove and given Adrian an error and taken the double away from Chris Nelson. Boy, that's
I promise you, when the game's over, that will not be an error.
Yeah. I would hope not. I mean, that's almost.
If you get a hit when you lose a fly ball in the sun, you've got to get a hit on that. That ball was hit 110 miles an hour right at him. And all you have to do is watch his head right here to realize he never saw that ball. Not to mention the fact that it was hit up 100 miles an hour.
Fowler pops one up shallow center field. Coming on, Craig Gentry. Plenty of time to get there. And Gentry puts it away. It becomes a moot point. The runner left stranded. We played an inning and a half in Arlington. Rockies 1, the Rangers 0 on Fox Sports Southwest. in, Emily?
Well, Buzz, if you notice that the dugout is not as crowded today, it's for very good reason. It's because guys are sneaking off to a brand new room here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. I'm calling it the Frozen Tundra. It's a small room where the guys can take a break, cool off. It's very cold in there. Watch some video while they're not on the field. It comes in handy on days like today.
It just gets crowded in there. I'm pretty soon that's going to be like the dugout. No one's going to be in the dugout. They're just going to be sitting underneath the whole time. I was in there. I was wondering what took so long for that thing to get thrown in there. I mean, it's kind of nice, but it's definitely going to get used. The starting pitchers are in there all the time, and a good place to go in there and watch film. And it's definitely useful for us in these hot days.
Michael Young with this afternoon's Geico quote of the game.
All right, and thank you. Yeah, Nelly Cruz. Maybe spending a little time in that cold room down there.
That's a perfect example of Nelly at his best when he's hitting the ball to right field. He hit a ball exactly like that last night that they said hit Adrian Beltre in the knee. That ball that hit Adrian Beltre in the knee wouldn't have been able to get up and run to second base. It obviously didn't, but he got a base hit on almost the exact same ball out over the plate, driving it to right field. And when he's at his best, he's driving the ball to right field. So that's a nice sign to see back-to-back games with that same hit.
Now the third Ranger hit of the afternoon. Now Mike Napoli will come to the plate. And Outman's pitch is banged up the middle, a base hit. Cruz had to wait to make sure it went through. He will stop at second. They'll back-to-back ropes off of Josh Outman. 2 aboard, nobody out, and Torrealba coming up. Well, good to see Mike Napoli get on top of a high fastball that time from Outman.
Yep, 92 miles an hour. What we saw for about 4 months from Mike Napoli last year. Every time that pitch was available, it was a line drive somewhere. And see if it's a bunt situation right here for Torrealba. First and second, nobody out.
Rockies are setting a bunt defense. Hard to tell when we get back into the American League parks what Ron Washington wants his club to do. Jim Tracy knows exactly what he wants his club to do, but Ron early in a ball game sometimes will go against conventional wisdom with a guy like Torrealba, especially when there have been 2 hard hit balls in a row off the pitcher. No bunt shown here, and it's a strike at the knees.
Yeah, and maybe at times last year you wouldn't even think of a bunt with Gentry coming up next, but it's a little bit different now with Gentry hitting 350.
Yeah.
He's a tough out right now. But the one thing the Rangers have done, one of the things last week or 10 days, they've had big innings, so playing for a big inning is not all bad with the Rangers. They've been perfectly capable of putting up 5 runs in an inning frequently.
Now Torrealba around to bunt. The pitch is high and outside. A bluff throw to second by Nieves.
I don't think you can go wrong either way with whatever strategy you want to use. The one thing you stay out of if you bunt is you stay out of a double play.
Right.
And if you move the runners, they'll play the infield back. Gentry's a pretty good contact guy. You've got a great chance to score at least 1 run. So just a matter of which way you want to play it as a manager.
And that last move by Torrealba, the showing of the bunt on the last pitch, will bring the corners of Kadire and Pacheco back in. He's around to bunt one more time. Good bunt down the third baseline. Pacheco fields, and he will throw to the second baseman, Nelson, covering. So the sacrifice goes 5-4. And both Cruz and Napoli in scoring position with 1 out, and Craig Gentry coming up.
Now, frequently, what you'll see as a manager in that situation, sometimes you'll even say it to the player before he goes out there, in case this situation comes up. I'm going to give you 1 shot. Take your swing, and if it's 0-1, and you haven't gotten the bunt, you haven't had success with your swing, then we're going to go to the bunt. Didn't appear that he was bunting on the first strike, but after that he was.
With Gentry at the plate now, the corners will play up, even with the cut of the grass. The middle of the infield back at normal depth. And Gentry, a modest 2-game hitting streak going, but that average at 348. And Outman's first pitch, a straight changeup.
I think you have to play Gentry up at the corners in almost every situation, just because he's such a threat to bunt. And they saw it last night when he bunted the ball hard right back to the mound and almost beat it out. Play the third baseman or the first baseman back in this situation, and he lays down a bunt. It's first and third, nobody, 1 out, you've got a run in. You have to take the bunt away from Gentry.
That's fouled out of play to the right, and it's no balls and 2 strikes.
tough right here. No balls and 2 strikes. Have to make some contact.
That ground ball in the middle of the diamond will get the job done, get a run home. And I would think, Tom, in an 0-2 count, that's about all you're hoping for right now as a hitter, isn't it?
Yeah, if you can hit a ground ball to shortstop or second base, just like hitting a sacrifice fly. You get an at-bat, but you're going to get a run in, and there's going to be an out.
0-2 pitch.
Contact is the name of the game right here.
Right. Laid off that Outman slider down and in, and the count goes to 1-2.
You know, Gentry has been up 115 times, only struck out 19 times, so he has been a pretty good contact guy.
In the 15 RBI so far this year, a career high. What he's done lately has been very impressive, as you saw. 1-2 pitch from Outman in the dirt. And Nieves able to block that pitch, so it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Right in the glove. Had a little space between the glove and the ground, but that ball hopped right into the glove.
Nelly Cruz, the runner at third. He started the inning with a sharp single to right field. Mike Napoli, the runner at second. He followed on the very next pitch and lined one to center field. Moved along by the Torrealba sacrifice. Now the 2-2 pitch. Gentry staying alive as he fouls off that high off-speed pitch straight back.
Well, he was way out in front of the first changeup he saw, but he was right on that one. He just had a pitch up and just fouled it off. Outman, after he got ahead in the count, he's going for the strikeout with those changeups, off-speed pitches. His fastball's been hammered pretty good so far this inning. See what Craig gets right here.
Again, the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and foul tipped into and out of the glove of Will Nieves.
You see Craig limping after that swing and one of the other swings. So he's playing and he's making the best out of it, but you can tell he's still in pain. Watch him after he swings right here and starts to run toward first base. A little bit tentative on that right ankle.
Yeah, that kind of gave away to him, didn't it? You know, he knows what situation, though, the Rangers are in without Moreland in the order. Even though Mitch didn't play the outfield, it's still one man short of where they want to be.
And it's tough with a left-hand pitcher because obviously Murphy and Martin can play in the outfield. Wash is trying to go right-handed against Outman because Outman has been so tough against left-hand hitters in his career.
Davis going through a series of signs. Outman still trying to pick out one that he thinks is going to work.
You almost wonder, Buzz, if it was a right-hand pitcher today, then I'm pretty sure Gentry wouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
He's gotten to play against some right-hand pitchers, but you wouldn't think he'd be playing today.
Breaking ball, and Gentry does a good job of laying off that off-speed pitch. The count has gone full.
Worked himself right back into this count now, 3-2. Of course, first base is open. But still, I think in the pitcher's mind, you get a guy 0-2 in this situation. You feel like you need to put him away, but he's one pitch away from walking him.
And this is going to be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Gentry trying to keep the train moving. Ian Kinsler in the top of the order. Waiting in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch to Gentry. Swung on and popped up. That's not going to get it done. It's a shortstop Herrera going out into shallow left. Cruz doesn't even bother tagging. So Gentry, a pop out. There are now 2 outs, and Ian Kinsler coming up.
Altman stayed away from the fastball and got Gentry off the end of the bat on a 3-2 changeup. Altman utilized his off-speed pitches, ran the count to 3-2, threw another one, and that time he got Craig to pop it up.
Well, the cornermen go back to their normal depth, and Ian Kinsler, who tapped out in front of home plate his first time up, will step in. Kins at 272 as he faces Outman with runners at second and third. Outman will still work from the stretch with 2 outs. And the off-speed pitch is a little bit low for ball 1.
A lot of changeups. You've seen Beltre, Cruz, and Napoli hammer his fastball. He's probably getting a little gun shy trying to throw the fastball right now.
1-0 pitch. That's cued foul. Another changeup.
Virtually every pitch has been a changeup.
Yeah, either Outman's getting a little gun shy or Nieves went out there and said, look, my ears are ringing. Will you quit throwing that pitch?
His fastball's pretty straight. I'm a right-hand hitter. I'm feeling pretty good about hitting that fastball.
Outman set to work. The 1-1 pitch. The hard slider down and in. That's that back foot slider from the left-hander to Kinsler, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Now, he's thrown less than 50% fastballs. Generally, I would think a pitcher somewhere around 60% fastballs, but he's well below 50% throwing fastballs right now to the Ranger hitters.
Ian trying to snap an 0 for 8 streak, which he is in. And the pitch to him. Got him swinging. Back foot slider again. And Outman pitches out of a tough spot. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left for the Rangers. We finished 2 in Arlington. Colorado leading 1-0 on Fox Sports Southwest. Brought to you by Geico Insurance. 15 minutes can save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com. By the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway MPG. And by Ace Cash Express, earning your trust since 1968. You know, the Rangers couldn't capitalize on an opportunity in the bottom of the second. Now we go to the third, the top of the order for the Rockies, and first pitch from Colby Lewis to Jonathan Herrera is in for strike 1. Herrera scored the only run of the game thus far. He takes high and away. Singled in the first inning. Stole second and then stole third and came around on a 2-out single by Jason Giambi. Slow breaking ball dropped in there.
Close play at third base. That was one that could have gone either way. If it went the Rangers' way, not only does no one score, it saved Colby Lewis about 10 or 15 pitches that inning.
Herrera turns on that Lewis offering and fouls it down the right field line. It's still a ball and 2 strikes.
Where's the lady with the glove? She would have caught that one.
Yeah, I think she was out getting the all the pictures taken with the ball that she had.
I don't blame her.
Yeah.
That was a big league play.
Colby back to the plate. And a chopper foul that'll go off the screen in front of the Ranger dugout on the first base side. It remains a ball and 2 strikes. Herrera just activated yesterday off the disabled list. Switch hitter from the left side, a swing and a miss. He is gone on strikes. That is out number 1. And Jordan Pacheco coming up. Let's check in again with Jim Knox.
All right, thanks, Bud. So, big group came in from Lubbock, courtesy 104.3, Double T 104.3. Going in from Lubbock on the Fox Sports Southwest Fan Express, having a good time in the ballpark, including Gary and Darla celebrating the 35th anniversary. And this all started a long time ago with watching the Rangers, right?
It did. It started in 1977. We came here on our first date to a baseball game. We watched the Rangers beat the Minnesota Twins that night in 17 innings. So I joke that this is my mistress and this is my wife. So.
There we go. Well, congratulations, 35 straight years being married. Emily Jones, by the way, sends her best. You know, she's a good old Lubbock girl. Everybody knows Emily in Lubbock. Appreciate you coming by. Thank you very much. 104.3, Double T 104.3. Thank you very much, Buzz.
All right, Jimmy, thank you. A one-out single has Pacheco aboard, and here's Carlos Gonzalez now stepping in. That hit the third of the afternoon by the Rockies against Colby Lewis. Carlos Gonzalez went down swinging his first time, and he goes after the first pitch, lines it to left field. That's down in front of Hamilton for a base hit. Pacheco a turn is second. He will hang on there. So back-to-back singles, and the Rockies have two aboard for Jason Giambi. Well, Carlos Gonzalez can hit. He's a flat good hitter.
He's a .330 hitter this year. He's had a couple of years ago a year like that where he hit for high average, bunch of home runs, knocked in 115 or 20 runs. He is a good hitter.
Giambi hit the sinking line drive to right field that Nelly Cruz almost came up with to stave off the Rockies in the first. Couldn't quite corral it. And Giambi takes the pitch a little bit low for ball one. Giambi with that RBI single now, 8 RBI in limited duty, primarily a pinch hitter anymore.
Pitch right in the middle of the strike zone.
Colby back to him, and that pitch fouled straight back just to our left. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, online voting continues through Thursday. That's for the 2012 MLB All-Star Game, which is in Kansas City this year. Vote now at TexasRangers.com. You can send your favorite Rangers to this year's All-Star Game, along with their skipper, Ron Washington. And when you cast your 25 ballots and select the Rangers as your favorite team, you'll be rewarded with a special ticket offer. Ground ball to the right side. Napoli can't find it. It's under him. And safely aboard is Giambi. That will load the bases. And just 1 out. Michael Kadire coming up. A good effort by Napoli. He kind of stumbled as he went into that dive, it looked like, and the ball just kind of caromed off his glove and rolled underneath him.
Yeah, wasn't a hard hit ball. If Knapp could have come up with it, he would have had a force out at second. There's no way they would have turned a double play. Goes off his glove, and you're right, then he lost his balance. Didn't matter once it went off his glove. Looking for a double play ball right here, though, from Kadire. Bases loaded and 1 out. Rockies got out of a second and third in 1 out jam in the bottom of the second. Rangers trying to return the favor right here.
That's going to be ruled an error on Mike Napoli. This is a tough league. A lot tougher than I thought it was. Error to Beltre, now the error to Napoli.
Yeah, those aren't errors. Those are base hits. I got to think those are going to get changed.
The bases full. Michael Kadire, who struck out his first time, goes after the first Colby Lewis offering and fouls it high in the air and out of play to the right. No balls and a strike.
Surprised Nelly Cruz didn't get an error when he dove for that ball and didn't come up with it.
Yeah, it hit his glove. Wow. Lewis working from the stretch with the bases full, and Kadire takes the next pitch outside. It's 1-1. Colby, again, being forced to employ a lot of pitches in this inning. He's up to 52 for the game now, and not out of a hot spot yet. Kadire pops it up. This one will stay in play. Kinsler and Nelly Cruz. Ian Kinsler making the call in foul territory, makes the catch and turns very quickly to check the runner back to third as Pacheco had tagged up and making a bluff move down the line, but Kins very well aware of that, and that's a big out number 2 for Colby Lewis.
Well, second and third in the bottom of the inning. Outman got Gentry to pop up in the infield. Colby's able to do the same thing. Got another tough out right here, though. Tyler Colvin's hitting .291, young left-hand hitter, off to a good start.
And just received word that they are going to change the scoring on Giambi's ground ball that was initially ruled an error by Mike Napoli. It's now a single.
Yeah, you can't say, well, he should have caught it. Well, maybe he could have. I don't think you can say should have, but when you go that far to your right and then don't come up with it, it's hard to assume that should have been an out.
Yeah, especially when you're falling as you try to glove the ball.
Yeah. It's one thing if it's right at you.
Right.
And that can be the only reason why you'd consider that ball hit at Beltran error, because it was right at him. But when it's coming at you 100 miles an hour and you can't see it, that makes it a little more difficult. Yeah, he's got to take 2, 3, 4 steps to try to catch that ball. There's no way that's an error. So changing that one was right.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Tyler Colvin. Colvin, a fly ball to center, his first time to the plate. And he bloops one to left. Going out is Andrus. Still coming on is Hamilton. He can't get it. Now the throw to the plate, and it hits the runner. The second runner coming in, that's Carlos Gonzalez, and the ball goes all the way to the screen. And a bloop 2-run single off the bat of Tyler Colvin. The Rockies now take a 3-0 lead as both Pacheco and Gonzalez score.
Well, that's too bad. You get the big out with 1 out and the bases loaded, and then make a good pitch on Colvin. The ball jammed him, and he just kind of shoots that little blooper out there in no man's land. You almost wonder if there was no shortstop, if Josh could have caught it, if there was no left fielder, if Elvis could have caught it. It looked like one of those balls that was exactly between them. Neither one of them could really call for it. They weren't sure that they could get to it. And as they got together, it just landed right between them.
Another scoring decision to be made. That's going to be scored a single, 2 RBIs, and an error on Josh Hamilton with the ball hitting the runner. Instead of just giving the runners the advancement on the throw, they're going to charge Hamilton with an error, saying that they were not going to advance had the ball not gotten away. So runners at second and third. Chris Nelson at the plate. And he takes a strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Gonzalez was doing on that ball. That you've got a little blooper like that with 2 outs.
Right.
How could there be a play at the plate? Must have thought there was less than 2 outs.
0-1 pitch. That's lined up the middle, a base hit. Giambi scores. Right behind him is Colvin. The throw to the plate is not in time. And a 2-out, 2-run single again, this time by Chris Nelson. The Rockies take a 5-0 lead. McColby has given up 5 hits in the inning. They've all been singles. And the Rockies have put them together for 4 runs. Still have a runner at first and still 2 outs. Will Nieves, the catcher, coming up. As we saw last night, this Colorado team can swing the bats. They had a dozen hits. Snap throw to first. Didn't put them together for any damage to speak of last night. 1 run against Roy Oswalt and the Ranger bullpen. But this afternoon, a little bit different story. They have 5 runs on 7 hits. And the next pitch, a towering pop-up to the left of home plate. Off with the mask, Yorvi Torrealba near the on-deck circle. Makes the catch, pushes Dexter Fowler out of the way, and that will do it. The Rockies come up with 4 runs on 5 hits and lead 1. Bottom of the 3rd coming up. Rockies by 5. called Chevy Hometown Kids. It's not about the score, it's about the experience. So tune in each Saturday at 10 a.m. here on Fox Sports Southwest, or you can visit www.hometownkids.tv for more information. And a lot of the hometown kids out watching the Rangers here this afternoon, but their hometown team is not faring well through 2.5. They trail 5-0. There's still plenty of time left in this ball game, however, especially in this ballpark. We have seen this club, this Ranger club, explode on the most recent homestand for 3 consecutive nights of at least 5 runs in a middle inning.
Colorado did that inning what the Rangers weren't able to do the first couple of innings. That's take advantage of some base runners. They didn't do that last night. They put together the singles to do it last inning. Rangers have left a couple of men on in each of the first 2 innings, had 2 hits in each one of those innings. Colorado's 17 games under 500. The Rangers are 17 games over 500. But it's not because of their hitting. They've got the 2nd most runs in the National League. Right around the 4th or 5th most runs in all of baseball. Rangers have the most. Red Sox have the 2nd most. Colorado's right there with everybody as far as scoring runs go. They can hit.
Elvis Andrus has a 1-ball, 1-strike count on him as Josh Outman now has a 5-run bulge to protect. Elvis, a bunt base hit, his first time to the plate. Changeup, that floats over the outside corner. Be Andrews, Hamilton, and Beltre.
2 people to thank in this inning, Buzz. Not a lot today. Brownie and cookies from Casey, Connie, Meg, and Coach Carter.
Andrews drives one to right field. Going back and toward the line is Colvin, and right at the edge of the warning track, he's able to haul it in as he steps onto the cinders.
I swear Elvis at least once every couple of games hits a ball hard to right field that's caught. Whether it's down the right field line like that, not as many there. Most of them right center field, either run down by the center fielder or the right fielder. He's having a terrific year, hitting in the 290s. And one of the reasons is his ability to drive the ball to right field. But he's not hitting a weak 293. He's hit a lot of balls hard to right field that have been caught.
And Josh Hamilton up there sees the first fastball that he has all afternoon. He takes it for a strike on the outside corner.
I want to thank Scott King from Amarillo, Texas, for the sweets that he sent today. He's the grandson of Gladys Allison, who I know. Jay and Gary and Gabe Barrington have a 45th anniversary today. They're from Throckmorton, Texas. They're sitting at home with their parents who are in their 90s. Can't come to the game, but they're watching. So Jerry and Gail, happy 45th anniversary. See if the Rangers can't get something going for you. Thanks to Larry Crabtree and Kathy McClellan for inviting Celeste Little Creek to the game. Celeste sent some pecan chewies up to us. Thank you very much for that. Beltre is not in the on-deck circle. Last night he went to the bench after Josh let the bat go and it went right over his head. He's continuing that today. Based on the one that went over his head last night, I can't really blame him.
Yeah.
When he can't do that is when there's men on base, because you have to be out there to tell the men on base if they have a chance to score, whether to slide or not, or maybe to get the bat out of the way.
Little tapper right back to Altman, who feels a nice, convenient second off. And Josh is gone for the 2nd time today. And with 2 outs, Adrian Beltre will make his way to home plate.
Also have a happy birthday wish to Edith Peltz on the 23rd of June, 70 years old. So thanks for the goodies. Happy anniversary to Jerry and Gail Barrington, and happy birthday to Edith Peltz.
Nice going, Tom.
That was quick. Short and sweet today.
Yeah.
Still got a lot left from last night. Although it's going fast.
Altman's first pitch to Beltre a little bit low for ball 1. In case you were wondering about Josh Outman, he's about ready to throw his 47th pitch of the afternoon. And again, as we mentioned last night, Jim Tracy's club now on a strict pitch limit They've gone to a 4-man rotation, and starters limited to 75 pitches. Came into play last night in the 6th inning, which pretty good job, Christian Friedrich, getting that far into the game with his 75 pitch limit. We'll see if Outman can do that today. 2-0 pitch to Beltre. A big rip and a foul back.
He's right on everything. Good swings. Went through a stretch of about maybe a week or 10 days where his timing was off a little bit, but he's got it back now. He came into the game hitting .317. It's probably .318 or .319 right now. 5th in the league in hitting coming into the game. Right back on track.
2-1 pitch down and in. That hard slider, and Outman made sure he got it in there, and Beltre having to do a little high wire act. So 3 balls and a strike to count, and now the Rockies shifting their infield into an overshift for Beltre. We have 3 fielders on the left side of the diamond. 3-1 pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Jim Wolf, a little bit of a delayed call. Adrian got a half step across home plate, got very quickly back into the batter's box. Umpires don't really like that too much. You start walking over to first base when they're calling a strike.
Yeah, that was borderline pitch. Could have gone either way, but it technically was a strike.
Now the payoff pitch. Ground ball nicely speared by Outman. Look what I found. And Beltre thrown out. A 1-2-3 inning, first of its kind today. We finished 3 in Arlington. The Rockies 5, the Rangers nothing. On Fox Sports Southwest.
And Buzz. Tom, we got a big UK recording artist. This is Ollie Murs. He's got like 4 number one singles in the UK going right now, coming off the album. And you're in town opening for One Direction. I understand this is one of your very first baseball games to take part of. And what do you think so far, Ollie?
Oh, it's incredible. It's a great atmosphere. I mean, it's a shame about the score right now, but you're informing me that Texas can pull this back, right?
Oh, no problem. They can score 7, no problem.
That's good. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. The food's great. The pork nachos, mwah. But I'm having a great time. The weather's fantastic, so much better than the UK. I'm performing here tonight with One Direction, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, that's at the Texas Center, and you got a hit right here by Colorado. Ollie, best of luck. Good to have you out here. Appreciate it. We'll stick around. Rangers are going to score a lot of runs, okay?
Come on, Rangers.
Oh, there we go. Good day, mate. Nah, just kidding. All right, thanks.
All right, Jim. Yeah. Dexter Fowler starting off the 4th inning, and another base hit. This one right back up the middle. They've been all singles this afternoon off of Colby. There have been 8 of them so far. In the Ford game summary, Colorado with a 5-0 lead, top of the fourth. Rockies, Colvin and Nelson, each 2-run singles in that big 4-run third inning. Altman, meanwhile, has made it stand up, giving up 4 hits, but no runs through his first 3 innings.
We're talking about Colorado's ability to score runs. Coming into the game, they were only 5 runs behind the Cardinals for the most runs in the National League. Cardinals have scored 5 runs so far today, so they're still in the same position. Rangers have scored, coming into the game, 375 runs as opposed to the 342 runs by Colorado. Rangers lead all of baseball in runs scored.
There goes the runner. The pitch is lined to right field, a base hit. New right fielder Brandon Snyder over in the corner to cut it off. Fowler, though, streaking around third. He will come in to score. And on a hit and run double, Jonathan Herrera drives in his 5th run of the year, and the Rockies lead 6-0.
An unusual game for Kobe, the way he's been going. They're getting a lot of singles, hitting some of them hard, some of them not hard, but they're definitely finding holes. Not much in the way of balls hit right at somebody today. Herrera swings a pitch down out of the strike zone, falls down. Watch this play by Brandon. That's a pretty smooth play right there for someone not accustomed to playing in the outfield. Gets it in quickly. Results were about the same, though. It was going to be a single and an RBI no matter how he fielded it, unless it got by him.
And the first pitch to Pacheco, the appeal to Wally Bell down there at first. He said no swing, it's ball 1. So the Rockies have just not let up this afternoon. I mean, they've been right back at it. 6 runs on 9 hits now against Colby Lewis for the Rockies. And Jordan Pacheco kicking the ball the other way. It's back into the seats and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, this defensive changes that we were talking about. Brandon Snyder has taken over in right field, and what Ron Washington has done is move Nelly Cruz over to left, and Josh Hamilton has moved from left to center. So Craig Gentry out of the ballgame, apparently had an ankle acting up on him. A strike, and it's 1-2. Herrera, the runner at second base, right at the bottom of your screen. And Lewis back to the plate. Check swing on the hard slider down and away, and the count goes even at 2-2. Colby, a check of second. A little looper hit into shallow right field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Herrera being stopped at third as Brandon Snyder up with the ball, gets it back in quickly. And another base hit. That's 10 base hits for the Rockies now. They have runners at the corner. Still nobody out here in the 4th inning. Well, folks, to celebrate 40 years of baseball in the Metroplex, Metro PCS and Southwest Airlines are offering a chance to win a trip for 4 to watch your home team play in Los Angeles. Register to win at MetroPCSFlyaway.com.
It's just one of those games for Kobe. They've hit some balls hard, they've hit some balls softly, and most of what they're hitting is finding a hole, unfortunately. You go back and look at Kobe's overall record this year. If you take out 2 starts at the beginning of May, back-to-back starts, where he gave up 5 or 6 runs in each start, but take those away, in his 12 other starts, his ERA was .218. That's pretty much an indication of how he's pitched this year. Well, it's unusual to see a game where this many hits fall in against him, but it happens to everybody.
Yeah, that it does. And he's got his hands full right now with runners at first and third. Carlos Gonzalez, 1 for 2, is at the plate. And the breaking ball now slipping out of Colby's hand, high out of the strike zone. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Gonzalez, a single and a run scored last inning. Colby was able to get him on strikes in the first inning. Snapped through to first, and back with the dive is Pacheco. 6 runs on 10 hits. Michael Kirkman starting to loosen out in right center field in the Ranger bullpen. And Gonzalez a foul straight back and out of play. It's 1-1. Colorado 6 runs on 10 hits. They played errorless ball. The Rangers no runs on 4 hits. And they've been charged with 2 errors this afternoon. One of the errors, the throw by Josh Hamilton that got away at home plate, led to an unearned run. So one of the 4 runs that Colorado scored in the third is of the unearned variety. The 1-1 pitch hit hard and foul down the right side. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, it's one of those tough errors. It's got to go to somebody, and Josh threw it. It actually wasn't a bad throw. It just hit the runner and carried him back to the screen. But it doesn't matter how good the throw is. If they advance bases, someone's got to get an error.
Yeah, exactly. That error for Hamilton, by the way, is 4th of the year. Pitch low and outside. The count is now even at 2-2 to Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez hitting at .333 for the season. Runners at first and third. Nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning. 3 consecutive hits have netted the Rockies another run against Colby Lewis. And Colby a little bluff to third and looked back to first, but nobody biting on that. Big right-handers ready to work. And the pitch on the outside corner, call strike 3. That backdoor slider, and Carlos Gonzalez caught window shopping. That's out number 1.
And boy, that's about as close as you can come and touch the outside corner.
The 5 strikeouts now for Colby Lewis. 1 away for Jason Giambi. Giambi with a couple of hits, an RBI single in the first. Then he hit the ground ball that went off the glove of Mike Napoli for a base hit last time up. And slow breaking ball is inside for ball 1. Giambi, a .262 hitter as he stands at the plate. He's raised his average some 25 points with his pair of hits, swing and a miss and a changeup. It's a ball and a strike. We mentioned Giambi, primarily a pinch hitter, or in a pinch hitting role this year for the Rockies. He has 13 pinch hit at bats. He's 5 for 13 with a home run in those pinch hit times to the plate. Chopped foul, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. In the Ranger infield, pulled way around to the right. Third baseman Adrian Beltre just about midway between second and third. And Elvis Andrus on the first base side of second base and very deep. And then Ian Kinsler up at what would be double play depth. A swing and a miss, and Giambi gone on strikes. Back-to-back punch-outs. Colby Lewis was 6 on the afternoon. There are 2 away, and Michael Kadire coming up.
Yeah, that's the part that looks normal. No walks and 6 strikeouts for Colby. Just the hits aren't what's normal for him. Came into the game with opponent's batting average was 8th best in the league, .231. A couple of those ground balls were hit right at somebody, and double plays were turned. Be a little bit different score right now.
First pitch slider, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. Kadire is struck out and fouled out. 0 for 2 today, hitting .259 as he faces Lewis with runners at first and third, 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. That's out of play to the right, and the count is even. And we're talking about strikeouts. We go to the Ford leaderboard, the most career 10-game strikeout, 10 or more strikeout games in Rangers history. Nolan Ryan, of course, at the top. Bobby Witt, 10 behind Lee Express, Gegard Perry, and that man knows a little something about strikeouts. Pitch low and outside. It's 2-1. And Nolan did all that after the age of 42 with the Rangers. Good text. He and Ruth enjoying this afternoon. They'll enjoy it a lot more when the Rangers put a lot of runs on the board here in the middle part of the ball game. 2-1 the count to Kadire. Herrera at second base, Pacheco at first. And Colby Lewis set to work. Off speed, and that misses up and in. And it's 3 balls and a strike. Colby Lewis delivering his 22nd pitch of the inning. So it has been difficult for Colby. Last 2 innings. He's seen his pitch total get up now to where it's past the 80 pitch mark. Swing and a miss as the runner from first, Pacheco, off and moving on the 3-1 pitch. And he swipes second. And he's there with 2 outs and a 3-2 count on Michael Kadire.
Nothing that Torrealba could do with that pitch. Down and away, going for the strikeout, but not a good pitch to throw. Yeah, Colby threw 30 pitches in the first inning.
Right-hander's ready. Payoff pitch on the way. In the air to right field. Snyder going back. Still going back. He can't get there. It's off the wall. Herrera scores. Pacheco in to score. An opposite field double by Michael Kadire. And the Rockies take an 8-0 lead. And that ball, as we saw last night, in the heat and a little bit of a breeze, carrying well to right field here at Rangers Ballpark, and that would certainly fool Brandon Snyder.
Yeah, Brandon hasn't played a lot of right field. Didn't get a great jump on that ball, but where it hit on the wall, not sure he would have gotten it anyway. But for a guy that hasn't played out there very much, done a pretty good job in the chances he's had.
And the first pitch to Tyler Colvin is chopped foul onto his right foot for strike 1. Saw Michael Kadire moving up that list of doubles leaders in the National League, now 3rd in the senior circuit. Kadire now 47 RBI for the Rockies. He is 4 behind team leader Carlos Gonzalez. Colby set, the 0-1 pitch on the way. High in the air, and that will twist out of play on the third base side. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, the Rockies scored 1 in the first. They put 4 more on the board in the third, and they have scored 3 more times here in the fourth. And Colby Lewis not able to put a tourniquet on the bleeding.
Michael Kirkman has warmed up. He's ready to come in if he gets the call.
Colby back to the plate. And that pitch chopped foul. A lot of long at bats here this afternoon for Colby Lewis. Not able to get that put away pitch going when he has gotten ahead in the count. Although 6 strikeouts will tell you he's gotten there enough times that he's done a pretty decent job when he's gotten to 0-2 or 1-2. And that pitch just inside. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Colby now peering in for the sign that will dictate what he throws for his 28th pitch in this inning. Popped up foul. That will reach the seats. Yeah, when you say, Tom, that one of those days, it is exactly that. I mean, Colby, very rarely does he have a lot of at-bats, or as many at-bats as he has today, where he's not able to get the ball put in play, where there's so many foul balls.
Yeah, generally those foul balls are swings and misses, and he turns them into outs that way.
Big right-hander ready, a check of second. On 2 pitches high. Get information from Ranger clubhouse that Craig Gentry aggravated his right ankle sprain that he suffered last night. And that was the reason that he was taken out of the ball game, and Brandon Snyder is in his spot. Snyder, by the way, will bat in the number 9 slot in the order. Colby okays the sign from Torrealba. Swung on, hit well to right center field. Going back is Hamilton, and makes the catch on the warning track. So the side comes to a close, but get 3 runs on 4 hits. And a runner left stranded. And let's take a look at the AT&T trivia question this afternoon. Name the 4 active players that are their current franchise's all-time hit leaders. 4 active players that lead their respective franchises in hits. Give you that answer in half an inning, and hopefully we'll have some more hits for the Rangers to talk about as they come to bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Michael Young, Nelly Cruz, and Mike Napoli to face Josh Outman. Michael Young 0 for 1 today against Outman. He flied to right field to end the 1st inning. So Michael's batting average now down to 267. Although he hit it pretty well to right center field with a couple of runners on in the 1st. Came up empty. And you could pretty much say the Rangers have come up empty so far this afternoon. He looks at a strike from Outman. It's 0-1. That was the 52nd pitch of the afternoon for the Rockies left-hander. Oh, 1 pitch. Waved at and missed.
I have to say that Outman has gotten out of the innings he's gotten out of with his off-speed pitch, especially his changeup. Rangers have hit his fastball, so he's pretty much gone to the off-speed pitches.
There's a fastball that's top foul, and it's still 0-2. The Rockies bullpen out there in left center field, taking advantage of what little shade there is available here to them.
Yeah, we've seen that alignment out in their bullpen, the visitors' bullpen, for virtually every team that's been here for a day game.
Again, the 0-2 to Young. Looped in the air to right field. Colvin moving a few steps to his right. Handles it for out number 1. Well, on Sunday, July 8th, the Rangers take on the Minnesota Twins at 6:05 that evening. The first 10,000 kids, 13 and under, receive a Rangers ice cream bowl, and it's Bluebell Ice Cream Sunday, so kids can enjoy $1 ice cream at the ball game. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Get your tickets for that game or any other one that you would like to. We encourage you to make your plans ahead of time, too, because Ranger tickets are becoming in short supply for a lot of the most attractive games. Nelly Cruz, a single to right field, his first time, a swing and a miss on the breaking ball, and he is down in the count now. No balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, since Nelly singled to right and Napoli singled up the middle, fastballs have been few and far between.
Outman back to the plate. That ball's hammered high and deep to left field. Gonzalez will watch this one go. Goodbye.
That's about 450. Couldn't see from here where it hit, but it came pretty close to hitting the back wall of the visitor bullpen on a hanging curveball. So Nelly's hit his fastball on a line to right, and that hanging curveball went about 450 feet. That opened up the floodgates.
Nelly Cruz with his 10th round tripper of the year, and the deficit is cut to 8-1 Colorado.
Look at Outman.
Pitch to Napoli is a strike.
Slammed his hands on his knees.
All Outman had to do was hear that sound, and he knew what was going to happen.
Well, he had a pretty good idea something bad was going to happen when it came out of his hand. And then he heard that firecracker go off.
Yeah. Knapp 1 for 1, and he has a 1-1 count on him as Outman comes back. Off speed, and that's a bit outside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, Outman came into the game in his last 3 starts. 18 hits, 14 runs in 12 innings. He had a 12 ERA. Had lost 2 out of those 3 starts. So he's improved on that today. Outman was not too happy with this pitch. Watch.
It's been estimated at only 418 feet.
That's all.
Yeah.
Well, it should be pretty easy to figure out because it's 390 to the wall.
Right where it
I guess
went out.
I guess it didn't go as far. I thought it might have gone off the bottom of the wall, but I guess it went about halfway in the bullpen. Pretty easy to measure that. Step off 10 paces from the wall, and we got how far it landed.
2-2 pitch to Napoli. And that pitch in the dirt. The count has gone full.
Jose Canseco hit one about a third of the way up the bullpen wall. That's one of the longest balls hit in our ballpark, 470 plus. The night he hit 3 home runs against Seattle.
Payoff pitch to Knapp. Little number out in front of home plate. Nieves out quickly, and he will fire on to first. That is out number 2. That's the home run that Nelly Cruz hit. I don't know, that got back to that back wall pretty well.
Well, if it hit right near the back wall and it's 390 to the fence, I guess that means the back wall is only about 30 feet. You know what, it might be too, because well, no, it's got to be more than 30 feet. They might have moved it in.
Yeah.
Used to be, it had to be at least 60 feet
Right.
because the mound and the home plate would have been 60 feet apart.
Yep.
But you're right. I think they moved that in a little bit.
Made that concourse wider up there.
Yeah.
Derby Torrealba swinging a high chopper to third. They're going to let it go, and that'll be a good idea by Pacheco. Jordan Pacheco coming down and thought about barehanding it, and thought better of it after he saw that hop off the grass that veered into foul territory. That was going to be a base hit if Pacheco reached down for it, and he said, no, not much I can do with that anyway. But Torrealba making his way back to home plate, and Jordan Pacheco checking stuff out. Torrealba had a sacrifice bunt his first time up. Down in the count here, no balls and a strike. Rangers trail them by 7, trying to get back into this game a bit. Nelly Cruz got him started with 1 out in this inning, in his 10th home run of the year, and Torrealba trying to continue the inning with 2 outs. 0-1 pitch to him, and the count is even. Torrealba figures to see more action behind the plate because of the injury to Mitch Moreland. Mike Napoli going to get some more time at first base. And Torrealba takes a pitch low. Gravit is it safely 10 of his last 12 ball games. So he is on the rise swinging that bat. Outman with the 2-1 pitch. Hard hit ground ball, but right up the second baseman Nelson. Gobbles it up, fires on to first. And that will do it for the Rangers. Colorado Rockies are kind of like me last night. They don't know how many outs there are. A run on Cruz's home run.
The team knew how many outs there were.
We'll go to the 5th, 8-1. AT trivia question. We'll give you the answer in just a second. 4 active players that are their current franchise all-time hits leaders. Got a couple in action on these ball clubs anyway. Michael Young, of course, with the Rangers. Todd Helton of Colorado. Ichiro Suzuki with Seattle, and Derek Jeter with the Yankees. 4 guys active, and AT&T bringing you that answer. Welcome back. Michael Kirkman on the hill and joining us in the booth. We get some relief, too. Mark McLemore, glad to have you along, Mac.
Good to be here, guys. I don't know what kind of relief I'm off for you, though. I'm the one who's needing relief right now from this this tie I've got on here.
You can undo that a little bit if you want to. We're kind of casual up here. All right.
When's the last time you saw a whole team not know it was the third out?
That's it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah. Now, who do you find in that instance? I mean, since everybody didn't know, do you find everybody?
Well, since I was the judge, if it was my team, I'd find everybody except myself, of course.
There you go. Well, that makes sense. I'm all for that. Michael Kirkman is on the hill, so Colby Lewis Day is finished after 4 tough innings, and Kirkman working to Chris Nelson fires a strike up and in. Numbers on Michael Kirkman. This is his 3rd ball game since being brought in from Round Rock, and he misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Nelson, Nieves, and Fowler to face Kirkman here in the top of the 5th inning. Nelson 1 for 2 with a 2-run single his last time up. And Kirkman gets a strike. Kind of a weird day for Colby Lewis. Mackey's, you don't expect a guy like that to give up that many hits and still have the ability to strike folks out. There's a base hit to right center field. That's going to plug the gap, go all the way to the wall. And Chris Nelson with pretty good speed. He's going to check in at second base, though, with a leadoff 2-bagger. It almost reminded me of what Colby had happen to him in Baltimore when he gave up 5 hits. They all left the ballpark, and he struck out 12.
Yeah, when Colby's off, when his location's not there, he's usually going to get hit pretty hard. He's either going to give up a lot of walks because he's missing off the plate, or he's missing out over the plate. He's not that guy that lights up that radar gun. So when you're throwing 87, 88 miles an hour down the heart of the plate, big league hitters are going to hit it.
Mm-hmm. And this Colorado team, and Tom brought the point up a couple times today, had the opportunity to. They can swing the bats. They've got some guys that can put the lumber to use.
They do. They've got some experienced hitters. They've got some pretty young hitters, but they know what to do with that wood when it's in their hands and that ball's out over the middle of the plate.
Will Nieves, one of those experienced hitters, the veteran backup catcher, and he takes a fastball strike from Kirkman. Nieves today 0 for 2. He is grounded to short and fouled out. Matter of fact, Nieves is the only starter in the lineup that has not had a hit this afternoon against either Colby Lewis or Michael Kirkman now. That ball is hit pretty deep left center field. Hamilton going back, still going back, and that ball's gone. Into the bullpen, and check what I just said, because Will Nieves has joined the hit parade. A 2-run home run, and the Rockies continue the onslaught. It's now 10-1 Colorado.
And Nieves only had 25 at-bats this year. That's his first home run. But he hit it like a guy that's going to hit a few more home runs way out in left center field. Kirkman gave up an extra base hit on a high changeup, and now he's giving up a home run on a high fastball. With 2 batters, a line shot double, and a long home run to left center field.
The Rockies now 10 runs on 13 hits. First ball swinging, Dexter Fowler to the gap in right center field and deep, and that ball is gone into the Ranger bullpen. Dexter Fowler with his 9th home run of the year. It is 11-1 Colorado.
Well, we're very fortunate that we don't see many games like this, especially for a team that's been to the World Series the last 2 years and 17 games over 500. But it doesn't matter who your team is. Every now and then you're going to have a game like this. And those fastballs and changeups, when they're belt high and right out over the plate, that's what can happen to them.
Well, Michael Kirkman has given up a double, a 2-run home run, and a solo blast in the 3 hitters he's faced. Now Jonathan Herrera comes up for his 4th at bat of the day, and he is 2 for 3. He takes ball 1 outside.
And Michael's going to have to throw a ball down below, right around the knees. Everything's been chest high so far. Have to get it down.
Swing and a miss as Kirkman pulled the string. And he might be out there for a while because I don't think anybody in that bullpen is going to answer the phone.
No, he's gonna stay out there.
Yeah.
I don't think Wash is going to want to use anybody else out of that bullpen with the game, at this point right now, down 10 runs. But Tom, you're right. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are, what your record is, where you are in the standings. Every now and then, another major league team is going to thump you.
And they've scored, I think it's the fourth most runs in Major League Baseball. And they're playing without Tulowitzki right now, but still they've got a lot of guys that can hit. And it's not a shock that they could put up a game like this.
Beltre the play, and there's out number 1 of the 5th inning.
I guess the only shock is that it would have come against Kobe as well, as Kobe's been mowing them down lately.
Now Jordan Pacheco will come up to face Michael Kirkman.
Mac, were you in the ballpark watching the special they did on you and your family today by any chance?
I saw it yesterday
really
when I
good.
came in. It was a little scary, actually. I didn't know what was going on when I got into the dugout yesterday and looked up and saw my wife on the screen and then my boys and my daughter. I was like, and then it hit me. I was like, oh, that's, the story that's going on. So, it caught me off guard a little bit.
They went back and showed some plays, which shows how Mark Holtz gave you the nickname Doctor of Defense.
Oh, those were the days of being able to move.
Yeah.
You don't think you can make those plays anymore?
I don't even want to think about making those plays. That even hurts. So, no. Being able to move pain-free.
Yeah, it may be tough getting old, but it sure beats the alternative.
It definitely does. I'm not complaining a bit.
Knee-high strike to Pacheco, and the count goes to 1-2. Kirkman back to the plate and just getting a piece of it. Pacheco stays alive. That dirt around home plate must be extremely soft, or there's an awful lot of backspin on some of those balls. They're just stopping right dead. I don't know how Dennis Klein and his crew do that. Normally, weather heats up here in Texas, and that stuff gets rock hard. That's out of play to the right.
Now, you guys were talking about Kirkman's going to have to be out there for a while. Ron also has Scott Feldman, but he'd much prefer for Kirkman to pitch 2 or 3 and probably Tanner Scheppers to pitch 2 or 3 to get through the game and save Scott for a long relief role in a game that's a little closer than this.
The chopper to Napoli. He will underhand to Kirkman covering. That's out number 2. The Sundays on Fox Sports Southwest join Tom Brokaw for Boys in the Hall. It's the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends, and this week it's Larry Doby. Boys in the Hall, Sundays presented by Subway Restaurants, where winners eat.
I played for Larry Doby in Venezuela. He's a good guy. Hard-nosed guy, boy. It's kind of like Frank Robinson.
Carlos Gonzalez up there. The breaking ball spins him around a bit, way inside, all the way to the backstop. Now, the folks that had to come up under the circumstances that Doby did, and even Frank Robinson, I think you'd get kind of hardened to anything that could happen to you. That was not an easy era to be in their position.
Well, Larry was the first black player in the American League.
Right. Gonzalez takes a pitch low and in. It's 2-0.
Coming into the game, the Rockies were 0-10 against the American League West in interleague play.
2 balls and a strike after that foul ball. That's the one thing about baseball, boy. No matter how well things are going for you and how good you think you are and how bulletproof you feel like you might be, you come out here one day and just get taken down to the lowest peg possible by somebody you never expected.
Well, the Rangers are 21-12 at home. They've got Kobe Lewis on the mound against Josh Outman, who's 0-3 with an 8.41 ERA. Because Kobe's been one of the best pitchers in baseball the last month and a half. Outman had a 12 ERA in his last 3 starts, and the Rangers are playing at home. So that pretty much is exactly what you're talking about, Buzz.
Yeah, things
Who
look
knows
pretty good.
Baseball.
They look pretty good before
That
the
ball
game.
is hit well to center field. Hamilton back on the track, and he makes the catch right in front of the 404 marker. The Rockies strike for 3 more on 3 hits. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Colorado 11, Texas 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Every Wednesday night through August the 8th and enter to win free Rangers tickets. Visit iloveontheborder.com for more details. As soon as I get this frog out of my throat, we'll be in good shape, or better shape. Rangers have a little frog in their throat sticking in their offense thus far against Josh Outman. A run on just the 5 hits so far, and Outman back out for his 5th inning of work. Brandon Snyder will get his first at bat of the afternoon since taking over for Craig Gentry. It'll be Snyder, then back to the top of the order for Ian Kinsler.
Buzz, I did get the facts on the back wall there in the bullpen. It's actually 40 feet shorter than it used to be.
Wow.
It looks exactly the same.
It does.
But there's only about 30 feet between the 390 sign and the back of that wall. That's why the ball that Cruz hit that looked like it hit the back wall was only 420 feet, because that's all there is 30 feet between that wall and the 390 sign. It used to be 40 feet farther back.
Well, that's still a long way, but it's not quite as far as it used to be.
No.
But you're right, that does look exactly the same from this angle. I'm sure when you get out there in that part of the concourse, it's much more roomy.
And they turned home plate in the pitcher's mound in a different direction, perpendicular to it, and they opened up a larger walkway behind the wall. It used to be right up against the Captain Morgan's club there, and when it was crowded out there, there was only maybe an aisle for 3 people to walk through. Now 40 feet closer, there's a much wider concourse up there. So thank you, John Blake, for that information.
That 2-2 pitch is fouled away by Brandon Snyder. Boy, that whole thing, Tom, you and I haven't talked about it, but that whole deal in center field just looks fantastic. I mean, it looks like it's been with the ball club ever since day one. And I know the accommodations out there are just great. Up the middle, Brandon Snyder almost took the right leg off of Josh Outman. A leadoff single. Snyder aboard, and Ian Kinsler coming up. Let's go back to our Fox Sports Southwest studios for a Mazda CX-5 game break. Here's Rick Renner. Rick? All right, Rick, thank you. Well, the Cardinals pummeling Kansas City the last couple of days. 11-4 yesterday, and thumping them again today. Here's Ian Kinsler trying to break an 0-for-9 streak that he's found himself in. It's ball one. And with Outman at 76 pitches total, this is either going to necessitate somebody getting up in that bullpen pretty quickly for Colorado, or Jim Tracy has decided the heck with that. I'm going with Outman. He's held these guys down to a run. We may be seeing the rise and the fall of that 75-pitch limit for his four-man rotation. Tom?
Maybe it's flexible. Maybe you get a few more pitches to get through 5 innings and try to get yourself a win.
Buzz, how do you think that's going to work on a pitching staff, especially one that, come up through the minor leagues, used to pitching on every fifth day?
Yeah, to me, you'd have to have like a 12-man bullpen if you're going to try that. All you need is 1 or 2 guys, a starter and 1 reliever, to struggle a little bit, and the whole thing is shot. Kinsler skies one to center field. Easy play for Dexter Fowler. That's out number 1. You get backed up. The Rangers, and Tom brought this up last night, the Rangers have had to dip into their reserves a little too frequently. They have a normal setup where 1 starter falters and then your long man might falter. Now the next couple of days you're all out of whack because you've had to fill in. I don't know what the idea is all about.
There won't be many games like last night where the starter throws 6 innings on a 75-pitch limit.
Right.
And today Outman is, almost in the same spot to get through 5. The other thing is when you lose on the road, you only play 8 innings. There's 1 inning that the bullpen didn't have to work last night. But you go back to Coors Field and the starting pitchers get knocked around for a series, and you're getting 9 innings every night. Going to be guys in the bullpen getting more work than they anticipated.
It's to Elvis, a little bit low. It's 2 balls, no strikes. And I don't know, what do you think about it, Mac? I don't really understand the reasoning behind wanting to do that in the first place. I understand going to a 4-man starting rotation if you have some off days and things, but just in general, when you have to limit the starters to get there, I don't know what purpose that would serve.
Well, I know for me, if I'm playing against a team and I know they've got a pretty strict 75-pitch limit, I'm going to go up there and make them throw some pitches.
Sure.
Yeah. I want to get that starter out of the ball game, and I was a guy that took, tried to see 4 or 5 pitches in at bat, and that's definitely what I do if I know this guy. Hey, he's only going 75 pitches.
Right.
That's it. So I'm definitely going to go up there and make him throw as many pitches as I possibly can.
You get into that bullpen a couple of days in a row, and all of a sudden you created havoc in that whole plan.
Whew.
Elvis on top of the count, 3 balls and a strike. Brandon Snyder, the runner at first. 1 away in the bottom of the 5th inning. Rangers trying to get something going offensively against Outman. And we'll try it at 3-2. Elvis this afternoon, a bunt base hit back in the first. He is 1 out of 2. And batting average at .294 as he faces Outman here in the 5th. And outside, ball 4. That will put 2 aboard with Josh Hamilton coming to the plate.
You're talking about that new setup that they've got out in the bullpen and going with 4 starters. The starter that's not in the rotation now is Jeremy Guthrie. They got him from Baltimore to be a veteran guy to anchor their staff. He's the guy that's out of the rotation now. And interestingly enough, the guy that they traded, one of the guys they traded to Baltimore to get Jeremy Guthrie is Jason Hamill. Jason Hamill's like 8-2 or
Yes.
9-2, throwing 8 innings every time he goes out there. So Colorado's got to be looking at that trade and saying, whoa, that one didn't work out very good. We played Baltimore 4 games in Baltimore earlier, and Hamill missed a start in that series. I can't remember whether it was some kind of a leg strain or whatever, but we didn't see him. It was kind of a good break not seeing him. The last 2 times he's pitched 8 or 9 innings and only given up 1 earned run in both games. Got a chance to make the All-Star team.
Well, is there an advantage to having your starters go 75 pitches?
No, they feel that to bring him back, as Hamilton swings and misses on the off-speed pitch, to be able to bring him back with 3 days rest, they have to limit him to that. And that's what's a little bit mystifying. I mean, if you made it a higher pitch total, so you have a reasonable expectation of throwing 6 innings, say 100 pitches, that might be okay. And Josh still having trouble with that slider from the left-hander Outman today. He's down to the count 0-2.
I guess what they're saying, Buzz, is they would rather have young starters pitching more often in shorter stints than on a regular basis.
0-2 fastball right down the middle, and Hamilton looking something off speed, just frozen at home plate. That is out number 2, second strikeout by Hamilton this afternoon. The third strikeout rung up by Outman. So Josh is gone. Adrian Beltre will come up. Well, whatever the reason, it's not going to work out too well, especially when they get back to Colorado.
Yeah, I can't see it. I just can't see enough guys in the bullpen to make it work.
Beltre 1 for 2, and the first pitch to him low and inside. Adrian, a single back in the first, and he hit a bullet right back to the mound that Ottman did a great job of spearing in the third inning.
So they don't have any off days coming up, so if they stay to that, Outman is going to throw his 90th pitch right now. He'll be coming back on 3 days rest.
Base hit to right field. Snyder being waved around third. He will score. On to third goes Andrews, and Adrian Beltre, an RBI single, makes it an 11-2 Colorado lead.
I don't think Beltre's the kind of guy that you can put a shift on against. They didn't have the same shift on in that at-bat that they had on before when they had the second baseman right behind second base. He hits the ball everywhere.
Adrian with 48 RBI now. Multiple hit games. Another one for Beltre. He's now third in the league, just 2 ticks behind his teammate Ian Kinsler. Well, first and third, 2 outs. Michael Young 0 for 2. A couple of fly balls to right field. Chance here to peck away a little further. And Outman leaves that breaking ball very high. Outfield playing Young just about straight away. Fastball line to right field. That's a base hit. Elvis scores. Checking in at second, Adrian Beltre. Michael Young with the RBI. It's 11-3.
You got to believe that's going to be it for him. I don't think he's going to want him to face Nelly again. Not with 2 guys on.
Yep.
And Jim Tracy pointing out to the bullpen that will do it for Josh Outman. So Outman will not get a decision here this afternoon. He did not complete 5 innings, and as a starter, you have to do that to be able to pick up a W. He will leave on the long end of an 11-3 ball game, and he's probably not very happy with himself.
Well, he had enough pitches to get a win in 5 innings. That's 92 pitches in 4 2/3, so he's got no one to blame but himself.
Fox Sports is proud to support Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Adam Ottavino is the new pitcher, the right-hander on to take over for Josh Outman. He inherits a couple of runners. And Nelly Cruz at the plate. And the right-hander deals. Cruz drives one to center field. Fowler going back. He's still going back at the wall. Goodbye. Nelly Cruz, a 3-run blast. It's an 11-6 ball game.
He came in. I'm not sure what his pitches are, but it looked like he said, I'm not going to give him a first ball fastball, but hey, threw him a slider. Nelly hit it out of the ballpark anyway.
Fastball, he might have hit the right center. The slider, he hit the dead center.
Something tells me Nelly's seen this guy before or just absolutely knew he was not getting a fastball first pitch. You can't do that unless you're looking for it, especially first pitch.
Well, Cruz, a 2-home run game, the 11th for the year, and the Rangers are within 5 of Napoli. Drives one to right center field. That's down and going to the wall. Napoli steaming into second base. He is 2 for 3. And here come the Rangers. The excitement level has gone up dramatically. Mac, we could probably get back in shape doing that fish or whatever that thing's called.
No. You'd be in traction, Buzz. Yeah. The key is get in shape before we try it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Well, I'll just watch.
Yeah, I'm not trying that one.
Mike Napoli safe at second. Safe and secure New York life. The Rangers coming on back, and Yorvi Torrealba now will try to keep it going. Ottavino throwing a strike to the outside corner.
Ottavino, he's coming into the game with pretty good strikeout rate. 19 innings, 24 strikeouts. Hasn't thrown one by anybody yet, though.
Ottavino, a claim off of waivers from the Cardinals by the Rockies. And the pitch low and inside. He's got a 1-ball, 1-strike count now to Torrealba. Yorvi 0 for 1 today. Had a sacrifice bunt back in the second. And grounded out to second.
Mac, this is your biggest inning of the year, isn't it?
It is. This might total all my 5th innings all year long.
Hard hit ball up the middle into center field, a base hit. Napoli being waved around. He will score without a throw. Yorvi Torrealba the RBI. It's 11-7. Nice going back. It's nice to see you back in the run.
It is, man. You know, I like it. I like it. I'm getting loose now. But that, I mean, this just shows you how explosive this offense is.
Yeah.
I mean, with the few guys that haven't been hitting as consistently as they've wanted to, Napoli, Cruz, Torrealba, those are the guys that are getting it done today. So you get those guys rolling, we can see a lot of days like this again.
Well, a good part of this is it's a 4-run game. It's only the 5th inning. There's a lot of innings left in this game.
Yep. Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach, out to talk to Adam Ottavino. And a very dejected Josh Outman sitting on that bench. No telling what's going through his mind. And he lost the opportunity to get a W here this afternoon by not finishing the 5th. And now Ottavino's come in and throwing some gasoline on this fire.
He's going to face David Murphy right here. He's going to hit for Brandon Snyder.
Murph coming on as a pinch hitter, a .282 batter. Torrealba at first, and the first pitch to him is low and inside for ball 1. But Brandon Snyder finishes his short day by going 1 for 1. He started off this inning by singling to center field.
How many times you see that? Lead off an inning with a single, score run, they get pinch hit for the same inning.
And ball 2 is low to Murph. Yeah, that's a little unusual. Ottavino set, a check of Torrealba, and the pitch to Murphy way outside. And Ottavino is going to be out there for a while because there's nobody warming in the Colorado bullpen. Bob Apodaca is calling somebody. I don't think he's calling out for pizza.
He's calling out there. Anyone want to warm up? First guy to the mound, next guy in the game.
And a strike to Murphy makes it 3-1.
No one's chosen to warm up yet.
Most 5-run innings in the American League, and the Rangers by a landslide. They put 6 up here in this frame already. Murphy trying to make it more. And he pops that one into foul territory, third base side. Wind pushing it just out of the reach of Pacheco. Just enough breeze to get that back in the second row.
Looked playable for most of the time.
I like the new seats there, though. That helped out a lot.
Yeah, it's an out without him. Nice play in the hat. Rex Brothers gonna warm up.
There goes Torrealba, lined into the glove of Kadire. Oh, Murphy smoked it right on the button. Kadire up the ladder, and that will do it for the Rangers. They send 10 men to the plate and score 6 of them. Half of that courtesy of Nelly Cruz, second home run of the game, and his 11th of the year. We will go to the Whataburger, What a Fan. Greg will be at the Whataburger on Airport Freeway in Irving. That's on Tuesday from 10:30 to 11:30 in the morning for an autograph session. Plus, you can sign up to become a Whataburger, What a Fan and win tickets. Sit in the owner's box for a Rangers-Angels game on September the 29th. 11-7 now as the Rangers put up a very crooked number in the 5th inning, a 6 spot to cut that deficit. There's something you don't see every day. Michael Kirkman back to work and facing Jason Giambi. He throws strike 1.
And Michael needs to earn his stripes this inning. After that inning, come back out with a quick 1-2-3 inning.
David Murphy staying in the ballgame, taking over in left. Nelly Cruz back to right field where he started this afternoon. Appeal down to third base umpire DJ Rayburn. No swing for Giambi. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Giambi 2 for 3, a strikeout and a pair of singles with an RBI. And Kirkman's breaking ball is very short of home plate, 2-1. Michael Kirkman, last inning, his first inning of work, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits. Back-to-back home runs by Nieves and Fowler. That followed a leadoff double to Chris Nelson. And time called. The baseball got loose over in the Rockies bullpen, and Josh Hamilton has to toss it out of play. Now we're set to go. Giambi back into the batter's box. Kirkman ready to work. The 2-1 pitch. Out of play to the left. With a left-hander on the mound now, the Rangers don't employ the drastic overshift. They still have Ian Kinsler out in shallow right field. But Elvis Andrus on the third base side, as you get a look there. Third base side of second. Adrian Beltre well off the line, so they're kind of cutting that shortstop hole down. Fastball call, strike 3. Giambi punched out on strikes, and Michael Kirkman. It's the leadoff man with Michael Kadire coming up.
No, that's a good way to start the inning. He retired the last 3 in the 5th after double home run to start his outing. Now he's retired 4 in a row and came right back out after the Rangers put up 6 and struck out Giambi to get the 6th inning started.
Kadire, a 2-run double in the 4th. 1 for 3 today. And he rolls one out to short. Elvis got him. 2 gone.
Right off the end of the bat.
Well, folks, the best of the American League take on the National League's top players at the 2012 MLB All-Star Game. That's in Kansas City. Don't miss the battle for World Series home field advantage. It's on Tuesday, July 10th at 6:30 Central Time on Fox. The road to October starts now.
Oh, it's a good inning for Michael. You got 2 left-hand hitters, Giambi and Colvin. Gave up 3 quick runs in the 5th, but now he's retired 5 in a row. This is exactly what he needed to do. Come out and get the job done this inning.
Colvin golfs a low pitch to deep right field, going back Cruz, and Nelly on the warning track reaches up to haul it in. Well, and enough to stay in the ballpark. Nice play by Cruz, a 1-2-3 inning. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Rockies 11, Rangers 7 on Fox Sports Southwest. For the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $500 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Today the Rangers are hitting for Warnie Mays from Dallas. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during this inning, Warnie Mays from Dallas will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant and join the fun. 11-7, Rockies leading. The Rangers have trimmed that lead. They will now face the 3rd different pitcher this afternoon for the Rockies, and that'll be the left-hander Rex Brothers.
Well, Brothers has pitched 32 times. He's only thrown 24 innings, but he struck out 35, walked too many, 15. But the 35 strikeouts in 24 innings stand out. He was a supplemental pick in the draft a while back, and he was drafted as a relief pitcher. He's never started a minor league game. In the minor leagues, he struck out 143 in 109 innings, so he's always been a strikeout pitcher. Find out what he uses to strike people out.
Well, the 24-year-old ready to work to Ian Kinsler to start things off, and the first pitch at 95 miles an hour is off the plate, low and inside for ball one.
Well, after one pitch, it would appear to be some heat as a strikeout pitch. And just because he struck out 35 in 24 innings doesn't mean he's going to strike out any Rangers. Ottavino had struck out more than a batter per inning. And he was lucky to get out of that inning.
Yeah.
A line shot right at the first baseman. Otherwise, there's a good chance another run would have scored.
And Kinsler takes a knee-high strike. It's 1-1. Kins today 0 for 3. He is tapped out in front of home plate. He has struck out and flied to center field. Rangers putting up 6 in their half of the 5th inning. And after Michael Kirkman went out and had a 1-2-3 top of the 6th, they want to get back on that offensive bandwagon here in the bottom. Way outside by Brothers, and the count moves to 2-1. Mark Lowe starting to loosen out in the Rangers bullpen in right center field. Michael Kirkman has worked 2 innings today. So that could be it for the Ranger left-hander. Kinsler, a line drive headed toward the corner and left. It's a fair ball and onto the wall. Kins at second as Gonzalez gets the ball back in, and here come the Rangers again. A leadoff 2-bagger.
Turning around that 96-mile-an-hour fastball in a hurry.
Well, Kinsler, a leadoff double, and before we see Elvis Andrus, let's go to Jim Knotts. Jim?
All right, Steve, good news for Ranger fans during day games. There's a new cooling station here at the ballpark, and Ron Matwick of the Rangers here to tell us about that.
Well, Jim, we've added a tented area here over by Section 12 at the third base gate, and it's a 20 by 20 tent which has chilled air inside it, a first aid, a medic on site, and it gives us additional capacity for people just to get out of the heat on these day games and really get somewhere to cool down. Sometimes in the extreme heat of summer, our first aid stations can get overwhelmed. So we're testing this out to see if this satellite location works. And if it works as well as we think it might, we'll add some more around the ballpark over the course of the summer.
Good news. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ron. Steve?
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a tremendous idea.
Outstanding.
They let announcers use those things? No, we're fine up here.
0-1, the count to Elvis. Hard hit ground ball right into the glove of Kadire. He will check Kinsler, who's making his way to third, and take the ball to first. Gets the first out of the inning. Kinsler now 90 feet away, and Josh Hamilton coming to the plate.
Good job by Elvis. He likes to hit the ball to right field, not like Michael Young. In that particular case, he did move the man from second to third with 1 out. Kadire playing way off the bag. Has caught the last 2 outs. Line drive by Murphy. Pretty well hit ground ball right there by Elvis.
Now Josh steps in 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts. All 3 at-bats were against the starter Josh Outman. And the first pitch is a breaking ball that doesn't break. Hangs high and inside for ball 1. In the Rockies, in not quite a dramatic overshift. You see the shortstop, Herrera, just on the third base side of second base. Nelson and Kadire playing very deep at their positions on the right side of the infield. Brothers back to the plate, a swing and a miss. That was a hard slider down and away, and it's a ball and a strike.
It looked like Josh having a hard time picking up the breaking ball in the game today. It kind of turned around hitting in the daytime, so that's not an issue anymore. He's also been hitting left-hand pitchers pretty well this year. That's not an issue. Just one of those games for him so far.
Kinsler coming down the line from third a bit. And Brothers ready to work. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Well, if you're a left-hander, you're fine against Hamilton as long as you keep the ball out there. If you get one up in the middle of the plate, he's liable to do some damage after he's seen you once. The 1-2 on the way. Got him swinging. Pretty good breaking ball down and away. Hamilton strikes out for his third time today. 2 away. And Adrian Beltre coming up. Pitch off the plate pretty well. That's what a left-hander has to do against Josh Hamilton. Keep it out there and you're going to have some success. But against Adrian Beltre, a little bit different story. He is 2 for 3. RBI single and a run scored in that 6-run Ranger fifth. Way inside. A hard slider on the first pitch. Adrian now a 4-game hitting streak. He has upped his RBI total to 48 for the season. Brothers, a long look in for the sign. Now the left-hander's ready. Beltre lost it high and foul on the right side. That will reach the club level, second level of seating here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington, and it moves the count to a ball and a strike. Rangers have scored in each of the last 2 innings. They are trying to make it 3 consecutive innings and cut into that lead. The Rangers at one point trailed 11-1. And if you're so inclined to think about comebacks, that would match the biggest comeback for a victory in Ranger history. And boy, Adrian Beltre slamming that pitch right down on his left foot. That's the 3rd time now in the last week that he has done that. Ow.
Got the big toe, it looked like.
Yeah. Adrian doing that little foul tip 2-step out of the batter's box. In case you're thinking about comebacks, though, the 10 runs that the Rangers made up, 10-run deficit the Rangers made up last was against the Detroit Tigers back in 04, in May of 04. Beltre has slow hopper to third, being charged off balance throw by Pacheco, and they just do get him. Good play by Jordan Pacheco. Side retired. Rangers can't do anything with the leadoff Kinsler double. We finished 6 at the ballpark. 11-7 Colorado. Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. You want to break up with a vehicle that's breaking down? Then head to your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best in Texas. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Jack in the Box. Right now you can try Jack's Chipotle Chicken Club Combo for only $4.99 plus tax. Pretty cool look of a star filter. That's what that is. Fluffy white clouds overhead, and a new pitcher on the hill for the sun-drenched Ranger fans to take a look at. That's right-hander Mark Lowe.
Yeah, Mark putting up some good numbers, throwing the ball great. Strikeout per inning, walks are down, opponent's batting average is down, getting an opportunity with Ogando out, with Uehara out, to pitch in important games with a lead. Last week he came in a one-run game, pitched the 7th inning, had a nice 1-2-3 inning. So he's earned the role with the way he's thrown the ball.
And Mark Lowe delivering to Chris Nelson, low and outside for ball one. It'll be the bottom third of the order to face the UTAX. Nelson, 2 for 3 today. A couple of runs driven in. He takes a good fastball for a strike from Lowe at 92. That game you're talking about, Tom, the middle game of that, or the first game, I should say, in that set in San Diego.
San Diego? Couldn't remember which game it was.
Yeah, he worked an inning, had a couple of punch-outs in that ball game. Swung on and skied to center field. Hamilton retreating, still going back. He's on the warning track and up against the padding. He's able to make the grab for out number 1.
In the last 3 innings, there's been 3 balls hit to the base of the wall. Josh has caught 2 of them, and Nelly caught one off Colvin last inning.
Torrealba out to say something to Mark Lowe and give him a new baseball. Well, Hamilton has been busy out there. A lot of long fly balls to center field after he took over in center for Craig Gentry. 1 away, and Will Nieves, the catcher, will step in. Nieves in a long 2-run home run to deepest left center field his last time up. His first home run as a Rocky. And a fastball from Lowe is a little bit high for ball 1. Nieves with that home run is doubling his RBI total as a Colorado player. Chopper over the mound, over second, into center field, a base hit, and he is 2 for 4.
And
One out single has him aboard.
Mark's reaction was to try to catch that ball with his bare hand, but he caught himself, pulled his hand back. You see a lot of pitchers do that. Kevin Brown probably did it as much as anybody, or Kevin Millwood did it a lot as well.
Yeah.
C.J. Wilson would do it. Let's see how close Mark came. Try to catch it. No. Think better of it. I think he could have caught it if he tried. But you risk having to go off your finger and having to go on the disabled list. That's not worth it.
A 1 on, 1 out. Dexter Fowler at the plate. Fowler 2 out of 3 today. A home run and a single. Driven in 1. He has scored a couple of times. The first pitch to him off speed, and that finds the strike zone. Fowler now a 4-game hitting streak. He has his average up to 268. He has been one of the hotter Rocky hitters of late. Low back to him and pushes him off the plate with an inside fastball. Rangers looking for that 2 ball up the middle. Fowler, a tough guy to double up because of his speed. He shoots one foul into the second deck on the left side. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Rangers last night able to turn a couple of very important double plays behind Roy Oswalt. They have now turned 57 double plays for the season. That's just about in the middle of the pack for the American League. Modest lead at first by Nieves. And the pitch inside. 2-2. Fowler, his first two at-bats, hitting from the left side, was 1 for 2 against Colby Lewis, and turned around to hit from the right side, hit one out of the ballpark against Michael Kirkman his last time up. Way high and outside, and a good job by Torrealba to come up out of that crouch to save a wild pitch. But the count goes full, and with one out, Fowler trying to get aboard to prolong the inning, or keep it going, I should say. Jonathan Herrera is in that on-deck circle. Throw to first, almost overshot Mike Napoli.
That would have gone right in the stands, I think.
Yep. Well, Mark Lowe throwing about a 95-mile-an-hour riser over there. That's pretty good reactions from Knapp. Had people scurrying to the exits over there above the Ranger dugout. Lowe ready. And the payoff pitch coming. There goes Pacheco, I should say. Nieves, line drive to right. That's a base hit. Fowler crushing the ball to right field. Yeah, he is 3 out of 4. On to third goes Nieves. And the back-to-back base hits to start this rally with 1 out in the 7th inning brings Mike Maddox back out to the mound.
Yeah, Fowler's looking good at the plate today. Not a bad pitch, down and in. He ripped that ball into right field.
So a pair of 2-out singles. Mike Maddox having a prolonged discussion with Yorvi Torrealba and Mark Lowe. How do you want to go about this, and see what they can do with Jonathan Herrera? Fowler, of course, with very good speed at first base. Jim Tracy, the Rockies manager, has several options that he can work. Herrera today is 2 for 4. He has scored a couple of times, a couple of stolen bases. He's also driven in a run, his 5th of the year. And a bluff to third and back to first, and had a lot of movement, but nobody going overboard with it. Low set. And the pitch on the way. Good sinking fastball, and it's no balls and a strike to Herrera. Herrera out checking with Rich Dower, the third base coach, going through a series of signs to Nieves, the runner at third, and Dexter Fowler over at first. Low back to the plate. Looping line drive to left. Murphy coming on. Tagging at third is Nieves. Here comes the throw. The tag on the slide. He's out.
No outfield in baseball throws like the Rangers. It doesn't matter who it's hit to. Every one of them can throw you out.
David Murphy guns down Will Nieves at the plate, and the inning has come to a close. We'll take the 7th inning stretch at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington, with the score of the Rockies 11 and the Rangers 7. And we are going to join Chuck Morgan now as we honor America, the singing of God Bless America.
With Bailey Alderman.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God
we head to the bottom of the 7th, and more than 42,000 on hand here. A hot afternoon in Arlington, but this crowd has been good all season long to these guys, and it is not lost on them.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, every day we come to the ballpark, expect a huge crowd, and we don't ever take it for granted. I know that, but we definitely expect it, and it's a lot of fun to play in front of that many people with that amount of excitement in the stadium, and we're enjoying it and see how many we can get, I guess.
Last night tied the franchise record with 21 sellouts already this season. They look to break it tomorrow. Just 100 tickets left for Sunday evening's game, the finale of this 3-game series. Guys, pretty remarkable. We're not even to July yet.
You're right, Emily. Nice job. That's great stuff. The players really do appreciate it, and of course the organization as a whole is very, very thankful. Michael Young shoots one to right field. That's down and headed toward the corner. Young going for 2. The throw by Colvin is not in time. Young with a foot first slide, just beating the throw by Tyler Colvin. And for the second straight inning, the Rangers have a leadoff 2-bagger.
Yeah, let's see if they can get this one around. Last time Ian doubled to left field, went to second on a ground ball and was stranded there. Close play, but great call, I think, by Ron Copeland, second base. And there's going to be a great camera shot of the play. Boy, you can't get a better shot than that. No. That was a very close play. Michael's foot hit the bag before the glove hit his foot.
Well, Michael Young with his 400th career double. His 12th this season, and he's in scoring position. And here's Nelly Cruz. Strike to the outside corner. Cruz 3 for 3 today. The last 2 times up, he's left the ballpark. Batting average at .266. He has raised that some 8 points today, and it's quite a bit considering it's the middle of the season. He's had a lot of at-bats. Now Cruz asked for time, and that is granted by Jim Wolf. Nelly Cruz, a 4 RBI game. Now he has 47. And he's looking for more with Young at second base and nobody out here in the 7th inning. Rex Brothers, a long look to second. Now the pitch to Cruz. That's a little bit low. 1-1. The Rangers now 13 hits. It has been an offensive outburst for both ball clubs. Colorado 11 runs on 16 hits. The Rangers 7 runs on 13 hits. And we've got plenty of baseball left to play. Cruz, a huge hack and a miss. It's 1-1.
Brothers got a good fastball, 94, last one 96. Ian has turned one around for a double. Michael's gone the other way on a line for a double. Stranded Ian trying to score Michael.
Brothers set. 1-2 pitch, and that's a little bit low. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nelly Cruz with 11 home runs, and we have seen him get hot and carry this team for a couple weeks at a time. And I think what the Rangers have missed thus far in the season is having he and Beltre, or he and Hamilton, or Hamilton and Beltre. A couple of guys really hot at the same time. Just haven't seen that since maybe the first week of the season. That ball's hit pretty well to right field, but it's not going to carry. Colvin makes the catch. Young tagging at third or second. Here's the throw to third, and not in time. Young able to advance on the line drive to right field off the bat of Nelly Cruz. Well, it's time for the AT&T U-Burst Reverse play of the day. And a pair of home runs, back-to-back shots by Nelson Cruz. One to deep left center field, and then one just to the right of dead center field. The latter a 3-run blast for Nelly Cruz. AT&T reverse replay. The one gone, and here's Mike Napoli, who is 2 for 3.
The same situation as the last inning. Double, move to third with the next hitters out. Let's see if Mike can get him in this time.
Napoli takes a strike. Napoli doubled and scored that run in the 5th inning. Mike Napoli last night, of course, that home run snapping a 1-for-24 slump that he was in. And he takes the next pitch on the inside corner. It's 0-2. Mike getting his 2nd straight start at first base. He is leading all-star balloting as the catcher in the American League. He'd love to get that offense back in high gear. Low and outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Napoli's home run last night is first home run, first RBI since the 9th of June. In just about 2 weeks. That one was in San Francisco. Brothers ready to work. Michael Young getting the lead down the line from 3rd. A swing and a miss, and Napoli has gone on strikes. A 97-mile-an-hour fastball. The Brothers poured right down low in the strike zone. Napoli couldn't make contact. 2 gone.
Yep, exact same thing as last inning. Get the double, move them over, and then Brothers bears down and gets a strikeout. Now there goes the ground ball. Sacrifice fly way to score him. Take a base hit right here. Hate to strand those leadoff doubles. 4-run game. You peck away and get those 2 runs, and makes the job easier in the 8th and 9th inning.
Now here's Yorvi Torrealba. He drove in his 10th run of the year with a single in the 5th inning. And he takes a knee-high strike. Torrealba 1 for 2 this afternoon. Also had a sacrifice bunt back in the 2nd inning. Nieves flashing out the signs to the left-hander, Rex Brothers. Way inside. It's 1-1. Well, the crowd kind of going silent here. A crowd of 42,516 on hand here today. They had a lot to cheer about in the 6th inning and looked promising last inning. And this inning looked promising too, but now it's going to take a 2-out hit. They'd love to have something to cheer about for the Rangers. That next pitch high. Michael Young got things started with that double. But 2 outs later, he is still at 3rd base. Rangers tops in the American League, by the way, and their average at 43,700. They are just behind the Phillies for the Major League lead in average attendance. And Torrealba out and taking a little bit of time. A ball had gotten loose from the Ranger bullpen. Scott Feldman had retrieved that and tossed it to a fan in the 1st row. Now we're set to go. 2 balls and 1 strike. The count to Torrealba. Foul ball. And Brothers continuing to get that upper 90s fastball down in the strike zone or just out of the strike zone. Well, you get a guy that throws that hard and you can throw it inside to a right-hander coming across the plate. That makes it a little bit rough. First of all, 96 or 97 or 98 is not something you see every day anyway, but when he's able to come across the plate with it and get it down, that's a hard adjustment for a hitter to make. And the 2-2 pitch on the way. Just able to get a piece of it. Yorvi staying alive at 2-2. Morgan trying to incite a little enthusiasm, although considering the heat of the afternoon and how things have gone, how they started out and how they've gone since. A little tough to get folks really going. Up the ladder goes Torrealba. He got off a rung too soon. His Brothers gets the strikeout. Rangers gone. Second straight inning, they wasted a leadoff double. On to the eighth, 11-7 Colorado.
Fan of the game, it has to be Trent. Trent caught the home run ball of the game by Nelson Cruz. That was a catch game. How many home run balls did that make you, Trent?
I got 12 now.
12 now. Okay, you also had the move of the game. What does that look like, huh?
The worm, but I really can't do it right here.
Yeah, you can't do it on the concrete, but you did it on the grass. You did a nice job. Who taught you that one?
My grandpa.
Good enough. Here's one's for Grandpa.
Thank
We're
you.
taking a look at the worm. Very nice. Very nice moves there, Trent. Congratulations, Progressive fan of the game. Way to go, Grandpa, huh?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, Trent, thank you. Buzz.
See, there is hope. There is hope for us, Buzz.
Yeah.
If his grandpa taught him.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I thought it was the fish. I was going with the predator, not the bait. The worm, huh? Mark Lowe with the first pitch of the eighth inning, and a fly ball to right field off the bat of Jordan Pacheco. Settles into Nelly Cruz's glove. That's one pitch and one away for Mark Lowe. Gave up a couple of hits, but had a key defensive play. It ended up being a double play on the drive to Murphy that Murph threw out Will Nieves at home plate. And that ended the seventh inning, and he has one away here with Carlos Gonzalez coming to the plate. Gonzalez, one hit and 4 trips. He's also struck out a couple of times today. And the first pitch from Lowe is all the way to the backstop. That breaking ball settled in the dirt. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Gonzalez currently hitting at .331 for the Rockies. Had a good road trip, Colorado, in the last stop of a three-city tour. This one chopped foul. Carlos Gonzalez hitting .450 on the trip thus far. One ball and 1 strike, the count. Mark Lowe ready to work. And the pitch on the way. Another one in the dirt, and it's 2-1. Tanner Scheppers getting loose out in the right field bullpen for the Rangers. Hard throwing young right-hander, and he's starting to loosen up in support of Mark Lowe, who's about ready to deliver his 18th pitch of the afternoon. Fouled back.
Scott Feldman had been warming up out there. That evidently was just to stay loose. This would be 3 days after his start. But as a long man, probably not the guy that would be pitching late in the game. Still has to figure out how to get his throwing in out there to stay sharp, though.
2-2 pitch. Low and inside, the count has gone full. Carlos Gonzalez trying to get aboard, the cleanup hitter and designated hitter waiting in the on-deck circle. That's Jason Giambi. 11-7, the Rockies leading the Rangers. Things have kind of calmed down the last couple of innings after a barrage of offense by both clubs early in the ball game. Payoff pitch. Hard hit ground ball. Kinsler to his right. Bobbles, recovers, and throws him out. Nice job by Kins. Good concentration to recover on that little bobble and get Carlos Gonzalez. Two-away, Giambi now comes up with the bases empty. Kins could take that on the road, be a circus act. That juggling going. Good job of staying with it. Giambi 2 for 4, a couple of strikeouts, a couple of singles. Also has an RBI, and Mark Lowe faced him for the first time. Misses high for ball one. Giambi is a DH. This is the 5th game now that he has been the DH in games the Rockies have played against American League teams. Check swing, it's a strike anyway. 5 for 20, right at a 200 average. .250, excuse me. He's 5 for 20. And the pitch is high. It's 2-1. Again, the Rangers using that shift. This time, Elvis Andrus not quite as drastically over to the right side of second base. Adrian Beltre at the shortstop side, and the breaking ball is high. It moves the count to 3-1. As Mark Lowe trying to get the off-speed pitches into Giambi, and hard to entice him to go out of the strike zone much swinging. Giambi is able to get aboard. Michael Kadire is swinging a bat in the on-deck circle.
Giambi has been up 59 times. He's walked 14 times. That's pretty much what he's done his whole career.
Hard hit ground ball. Nice play by Mike Napoli going to his left. To the bag he goes, and Mark Lowe has a 1-2-3 inning. The Rangers come to bat in the bottom of the 8th. They are trailing the Rockies 11-7 on Fox Sports Southwest. Center, great hands of the game. And since the hand is attached to the arm, we'll go with hand and arm. David Murphy. Oh, what a great throw by Murph. Right on the button to Torrealba. And David Murphy gunning down another support of Mark Lowe. That was in the 7th inning. And Will Nieves tagged out trying to score on what he thought was going to be a sacrifice fly. And the aforementioned David Murphy will lead things off against a new pitcher for the Rockies. It's right-hander Matt Belisle. Murphy takes outside for ball 1. Murph came on as a pinch hitter in the 5th inning. And he hit a ball right on the button, pinch hitting for Brandon Snyder, and lined out to first base. And that was with a runner aboard and 2 outs. Rangers had already scored 7 and came within an eyelash of scoring more. And there's a strike from Belisle. Belisle, a Rocky since 2009, throws a belt-high strike. It's 2-2.
Solid numbers for Belisle. Nice ERA. Big curveball, not a hard thrower. Works quickly, throws strikes.
And Belisle, a very versatile reliever for the Rockies. He's appeared in 209 ball games with them since 2009. Back to the plate, and Murphy fouls it out of play. That a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. And the count remains 3-2. Murphy hitting in the number 9 slot to be followed by the top of the order, and that means Ian Kinsler. He's getting ready in that on-deck circle. Rangers down by 4. They need to do some work, and David Murphy draws the leadoff walk. That's how things start. And before Ian Kinsler comes up, let's head over to say hello to John Radigan with a preview of Rangers Live. John?
Yeah, Buzz, sitting out here on the set in the Captain Morgan Club, and the Rangers haven't needed many late inning comebacks so far this year. Let's see if they got one of those in them. Either way, we'll chat with all the principals in this one after the game. Emily Jones will work the clubhouse, and we'll get lots of post-game reaction and analysis. Mark McLemore will join me. Rangers Live, the most complete post-game show you can possibly find right after the game from here in the Captain Morgan Club, guys.
All right, John, thank you. 1 on, nobody out. Ian Kinsler takes a breaking ball from Belisle that drops in for strike 1. Kinsler double to lead off the 6th, but he was stranded just 90 feet from home plate that inning. Michael Young did the same thing in the 7th. Kinsler, a looper up the middle near the bag at second. Herrera steps on for second and throws to first. It's a 6-3 double play, and that erases the leadoff walk. So Kinsler rounding into the double play, the 49th time the Rangers have done that this year. And the bases are empty for Elvis Andrus.
You could tell by the sound of the bat that he didn't hit it well off the end of the bat. Visually, it looked like it was headed up the middle. But when it hit, it just died. Because it was hit off the end of the bat, made it an easy play for Herrera. Leadoff hitters on last 3 innings. Can't quite get that rally going.
Yeah.
Another rally going. They've already had 1 rally for 6 runs. Unfortunately, they were so far behind, needed another one.
First pitch to Elvis is in at the knees for strike 1. Andrus 1 for 3 officially. He's had a bunt base hit. That came way back in the 1st inning. Since then, he has flied out, grounded out. He's also walked. He looks at strike 2 from Belisle. Elvis out to think things over momentarily. And Belisle staying right on top of that pitching rubber between pitches. Slow breaking ball. Good job by Elvis to check his swing just in time. And the count moves to 1-2. Ground ball up the middle. Off the glove, backhander recovered and not in time. The throw by Nelson. Boy, you talk about an athletic play. That ball ran up his arm. He grabbed it in midair and almost threw out Elvis Andrus.
I didn't think he was going to have a throw once he bobbled it. Thought it was going to be a tough play to begin with. And once he bobbled it, didn't look like there was going to be any chance for a play. But it bounced right up to his throwing hand. He gave it a shot anyway. Was able to make an accurate throw.
That's going to be scored a base hit, and rightfully so. So Elvis has his second base knock of the day. He is aboard with 2 out. Here's Josh Hamilton. Big swing and miss. It's 0-1. Josh 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, Josh just not picking the ball up today. Yeah. He's swung a lot of breaking balls out of the strike zone.
There's a fastball that Belisle able to get in a pretty good spot, and looks like Josh might be in between, ahead of the breaking ball behind the fastball.
Yeah, you'll hear hitters talk about not picking the ball up. I'm seeing the ball well. The ball looks like a basketball. Some days it looks like a BB instead of a basketball, though. You just, whether your head's moving, whatever the reason for it is, you just don't see the ball that well. It gets on you before you know it.
And you probably hope it's a mechanical adjustment, not your eyesight going bad, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of a bad deal. I don't think that's a problem for Josh.
No.
It's just one of those days.
Again, the 0-2 pitch.
There have been a lot of hitters, though, that have turned things around with a good eye examination, whether it's getting rid of contacts and going to the laser surgery or just getting glasses to begin with. You see that, I wouldn't say frequently, but from time to time, a guy will say, yeah, found out I couldn't see the ball that well. Glasses have made all the difference in the world.
Belisle set, and back he comes, and calls strike 3. Hamilton called out on strikes for the second time today. That's his 4th strikeout. And the Rangers strand their 8th runner of the afternoon. 9th inning coming up. Rockies 11, Rangers 7 on Fox Sports Southwest. Jimmy John's delivery of the game in the 5th inning for Colorado. Dexter Fowler hammering a pitch, or I should say Will Nieves, and then Dexter Fowler. Nieves going to left center field, Fowler going to right center field. 2 deliveries that made the most difference in that 5th inning for the Colorado Rockies. 11-7, the Rockies lead as we go to the 9th inning. Ron Washington going to the bullpen once again. The 4th pitcher he used this afternoon to come into play, it'd be right-hander Tanner Scheppers.
Yeah, Tanner's been throwing the ball fine. His fastball reaches the mid-90s, sometimes even higher than that. At times he's got a really good curveball. At times he's got a really good changeup. He just has to put things together and be consistent and keep the fastball away from the middle of the plate. And that's a common problem for young pitchers, trying to acclimate themselves at the big league level. One thing you can't teach the velocity that he's got. He's got a great arm.
That he does. That one at 96 miles an hour. Michael Kadire, who is 1 for 4, goes after a high fastball with no success. That at 97. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Kadire, a 2-run double back in the 4th inning for his only hit of the afternoon. He takes outside, and the count is a ball and 2 strikes. You know, you hear all the time, Tom, about people telling stories about young people need to trust their swings or trust their stuff, and it's a little bit easier said than done, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always easy from up here, Buzz. We both know that because we've been down there. And you say to yourself, how could the hitter swing at that pitch in the dirt? How can a pitcher not keep the ball away from the middle of the plate? You're right, it's a lot harder than that when you're out there in front of 40,000 people and you're trying to establish yourself at the big league level, and your team's in a pennant race, and it's your first taste of the big leagues, yeah, you have to be nervous, and it is a lot easier said than done. And sometimes I guess we tend to make it sound like it's easier than it really is, but it's hard. It's hard to hit. It's hard to pitch. It's not easy to play in the big leagues, although they make it look easy sometimes.
Albin fouls one away to the left. You know, I think we try to make it sound simple, not easy. It is very simple, I think, when you get it down to, well, trust your stuff or trust your swing. That's a fairly simple concept, but the implementation of that is really tough.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's simple if you boil it down to the lowest common denominator. You throw it over the plate, you let them hit it. The fielders make the plays. If you're a hitter, you don't swing at bad pitches. You only swing at strikes. Yeah, you're right. The concepts are simple, but it's not easy.
Now, 2 gone after that fly ball to left field. That'll bring up Chris Nelson. Can you think back on a moment where you started trusting yourself as a big league ball player?
I don't know that I ever reached that point, Buzz.
Yeah.
I had a hard time laying off pitches out of the strike zone. I was a little overly aggressive, didn't walk enough. And so I think I was always in a position where I wasn't trusting my physical ability because I just wasn't patient enough. But you do go through streaks where you feel that way. I don't know overall if I ever felt that way for a season, but you go through streaks where you do see the ball well, you're swinging the bat well, and you just automatically are laying off those pitches. And then other times, you have a day like Josh had today. There's not too many players in the big leagues better than he is, but even he can have a day like that where he swings the pitches out of the strike zone, strikes out 4 times. The good thing about baseball, though, is you put it behind you. You know you've got another game tomorrow night. You don't have to sit there and think about it or let it linger. That's the beauty of baseball. Come back tomorrow night, get a couple of hits, come up and get a home run late in the game, and everything's great again. The hardest thing, though, is you have a game where you have, say you have a game-winning home run, or you go 4 for 4, and you want to enjoy it a little bit. That's the other side of it. You got to come back and do it again tomorrow. That's history.
Yeah. Now what have you done for me lately?
That's what it boils down to.
1-2 pitch. Yeah, that's very high. Is Nelson up there, and Tanner Shepard's trying to have a 1-2-3 ninth inning. Give his teammates an opportunity. You saw Betancourt getting loose out of the left field bullpen. He will no doubt come on and pitch the ninth inning.
Confidence for me had a lot to do with who the opposing pitcher was. There's some guys you go up there and you feel, I got this guy.
Sure.
And there's other guys that you go up there and unfortunately, you hate to admit it, but what's going through your mind is he's got me.
Yeah. No chance. And I think everybody feels that way. Some to a greater degree than others, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're honest, you do.
3-2 pitch, hit to right center field. Not very well. Hamilton jogging in and underneath it. That will do it. So the Rangers have one more shot at the Rockies here this afternoon. They come to bat in the bottom of the ninth, trailing 11-7 on Fox Sports Southwest. Ford Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Want to break up with a vehicle that's breaking down? Then head to your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best in Texas. By Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by the Progressive Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. On we go to the ninth inning, and a little disappointed Ranger fan. Got that rally cap on, though, that looking for that 5-run ninth inning, and they're going to have to do it against the closer for the Rockies, and that's Rafael Betancourt.
I haven't seen Betancourt in a while, but I do remember him. He stays in the stretch for about 10 seconds every time. See if he's speeded things up at all. Buzz, you were talking about certain pitchers that you can hit, certain hitters that you can't get out or can get out. I remember one year I was getting a chance to play quite a bit. Billy Martin was the manager, and early in the season he had every hitter write down the 3 pitchers that you knew you couldn't hit. In other words, I guess he would, when he made his lineup out, if you just said to him, I can't hit this guy, you won't play. And I remember one of them I put down was Bert Blyleven. I knew I couldn't hit Bert Blyleven. And one day against Minnesota, he's pitching, and my name's in the lineup. Now, I'm not even a left-hand hitter. I'm a right-hand hitter trying to hit against him. Problem was, I wasn't the only person that put Bert Blyleven down. The whole team put him down, so somebody had to play.
You go by seniority, huh?
I guess.
That's great.
If everyone's going 0 for 4, you're going to be the one that sucks it up today.
Adrian Beltre takes a pitch on the inside corner. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Beltre and Young and Cruz to try and get the Rangers back in this. They trail 11-7. Betancourt on in relief. He is the 5th pitcher used this afternoon by Jim Tracy. Off speed, swung on and missed. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Adrian 2 for 4 today, an RBI single back in the 5th inning. Also came around to score, so Beltre now 48 RBI for the season. That batting mark up to 319. Betancourt ready to go. And to the plate he comes. Fastball grounded in center field, a base hit. 4th consecutive inning that the Rangers have had their leadoff man aboard after they scored 6 in the 5th, and they haven't scored in any of them. Beltre trying to turn that idea around. He is aboard with nobody out. Michael Young, who is 2 for 4 and base hits his last 2 times up, will step in.
Well, they got the right guys coming up, and they need a big inning. They're probably going to need the long ball. Pecking away the last few innings with those leadoff hitters, getting them around would have made it a lot more interesting right now. But the Rangers, no team in baseball's come close to scoring 5 runs in an inning more than the Rangers have. So it's the right team to be in this predicament.
Now here's Young with Beltre aboard. Michael has gone to right field all 4 times up today. And the first pitch is a knee-high strike on the corner. Michael didn't agree with that. Jim Wolf, the arbiter behind the plate, had the final say.
Good pitcher's pitch.
Michael waiting. Beltre a modest lead at first. And Betancourt to the plate. Swing and a miss. Low inside fastball, and the count is no balls and 2 strikes. Rangers 15 hits. They have been out hit by 1 today. Colorado, however, putting a lot of their hits together early in the ball game. They scored 1 in the 1st, but 4 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, and 3 in the 5th. And that's when the bulk of their offensive output came together. 10 runs in those 3 innings. Check swing. He went around, and Michael Young gone on strikes as Betancourt gets the punch out.
curveball down and away. Michael couldn't lay off it. That court does look like he's working a little bit quicker now than he used to. Not quite as noticeable anyway.
One out in the inning. Beltre still at first. Nelly Cruz, big day at the plate. Couple of home runs and 3 out of 4, as you will see. Betancourt agrees with Nieves for the side. And he comes back to the plate. There's that big breaking ball. It's in and over for a strike. He had some defensive changes, by the way. Changing on the infield for the Rockies. Marco Scutaro has come into the ballgame. He has taken over at second base. Chris Nelson, who began the game at second, has moved over to third. So Scutaro hitting in Jordan Pacheco's spot in the lineup. Swing and a miss. And the off-speed pitch just too tantalizing for Nelly Cruz to pass up. No balls and 2 strikes. Betancourt okays the sign. He checks Beltre at first. And the 0-2 to Cruz went up the ladder, and Nelly wouldn't offer. 1-2. Now the Rangers trying to come back in this ballgame. They will finish up here tomorrow afternoon. Or tomorrow evening, I should say, at 6:05. Not your typical 7:05 start. Matt Harrison, going for his 10th win of the year, will be opposed by the right-hander Alex White. White at 2-5 with a 6.06 earned run average. Betancourt's 1-2 pitch. Looped into shallow center field. Coming on is Fowler, and Dexter Fowler has it hang up for him. He was able to make the catch. And the Rangers now down to their last out with Mike Napoli coming to the plate. So Matt Harrison trying for his 10th win of the year. Comes in at 9-3, a 341 earned run average. And Ivan Nova, one of the other 9-game winners, going for his 10th win tonight. And then tomorrow, along with Matt Harrison, David Price and CC Sabathia. All 3 going for their 10th wins of 2012. There goes Beltre, and he will advance on defensive indifference as Mike Napoli takes a called strike. It's 0-1 to Nap. Napoli 2 for 4. Single, double, ground out, and strikeout. Beltre in scoring position, and Mike Napoli trying to keep things going for the Rangers here this afternoon. Betancourt ready to work. A check of Beltre at second. And Napoli fouls it away. It's no balls and 2 strikes. Colby Lewis, kind of a clunker for him this afternoon. Gave up 8 runs on 11 hits and 7 earned runs on 11 hits and just 4 innings of work. And it was a kind of day that Colby will put behind him very quickly and move on to his next start, which will probably be next Thursday against Oakland. Breaking ball, and that's just off the outside corner. Napoli took it. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Jim Wolf gave a good look, too, before he called it a ball. Borderline. That one went Nap's way. Right on top of one that was called a strike. Or that he swung at, I guess it could have been.
Now the 1-2 pitch. And that's hit high in the air. Well out of play to the right. And we'll try it again. Well, the Rangers, who have the best 71-game win-loss record in franchise history, after yesterday. Barring a comeback, will tie 1996 and 2010 for the high water mark after 72. Pitch in the dirt, and the count has gone 2-2 now to Napoli. Rangers still with the most wins in baseball by a couple over the Dodgers entering play today.
The Dodgers lost to the Angels last night 8-5. They were ahead 5-0 early in the game.
Betancourt set, and the 2-2 to Napoli. Got him swinging. Breaking ball, and that will do it. So Betancourt gets a couple of strikeouts. The Rangers a hit and strand one. Now the final here this afternoon, Colorado 11 and Texas 7. And Rangers baseball continues after the break with John Radigan and Mark McLemore.